Hello, everyone. Welcome back. It's been a while. We are still discussing One Piece, and we're still discussing each chapter as they come out, uh, except for the last five chapters, because we're all discussing all of those right now. Uh, yeah, we're gonna just kind of just jump into it, go chapter by chapter like we've done before. Um, so we'll start. First chapter we haven't covered yet is 1032, Odin's beloved sword. I guess the first thing there's like a little cover page where it's like Yamato and she's like with what is it? Yamato making a delivery with black cats. Yamato looking pretty good.
They look like Queen.
Feel-
A
Yeah,
little
the,
bit. You got the overalls,
They got
yeah.
the striped overalls just like Queen.
Yeah.
that's I did not notice that. That's pretty nice. Um, see a little bit of side boob from Yamato. Not as much as we
As
normally see
always.
from her,
Yeah.
but still, as is her trademark, we get a little bit of
First,
that.
first thing I notice is that gilf.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Yamato, I sleep. The gilf.
Yeah.
It's all about the gilf.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a
Chapter.
good I like these little stories they've got, but some of them are better than others, like the Frankie and baby guy. What's his name again?
Yeah, I am
That was the
at
best
this
one.
point
Senior Pink.
Senior Pink, yeah, that was the best one.
I'm ready for cover arc, which I think we get at some point in here. So
Yeah.
that's what I really like. These are nice, but
Yeah. Whenever I
for
see
me
a
it's the
volume
cover
one,
arcs.
I'm hyped.
Yes.
All right, let's jump into 1032 then. Kind of start with a continuation of the whole X Drake and Apoo fight. It's not like my favorite thing. They're kind of running around. It's kind of almost like a comic relief at some point with like their whole interaction because nobody really knows what side any of them is on. I don't even know if Apoo knows what side he's on. And yeah, they're still kind of running around doing their thing. Yamato's trying to stop the big bomba from going off, and we get what are they called? The numbers trying to
Yeah,
interfere.
and uh, numbers been kind of a disappointment, honestly.
I
Remember when
was
they
just
were
thinking that, yeah.
yeah when they were introduced, they seemed so menacing, and I was like, finally, Kaido's crew is seeming like a force to be reckoned with, and then the numbers are kind of a joke, like
Yeah,
literally a joke
I feel
in
like
most cases.
like they're like what the middle part between the Toby Ropo and the like the regular grunts basically, and it's just like we've
Butters,
never
yeah.
heard anything about them.
Yeah, and it really doesn't seem like they're much better than they're like yeah, basically fodder.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Um, this one has a is like a centaur. I don't know, maybe he ate a smile or
He's
something.
he's giant.
Hmm.
He's got that going for him.
Yeah, big.
But
Uh,
I'd like to say I've really been enjoying Apu in these most recent chapters.
Really?
Like I actually have. I my original thought on Apu was that he's like really annoying and weak,
Yeah.
but I don't know. He's grown on me a lot. He just seems like an opportunist, and I do admire that out of him.
He's a
He's
fucking
just
weasel.
he's a weasel,
I
but he does
hate
it so
weasels.
well. He
I
does it
mean,
so well.
I will say he's more funny than most weasels. Like weasels usually aren't the funniest characters, I guess, but I don't know. I'm like one of my least favorite archetypes is the snitch or the weasel. Uh, the
yeah, I
appendage
don't
at the
know.
end.
I'm not a huge fan of Apu, honestly. I kind of like. I think to be the tiebreaker, I guess I'm not really in on the side of Apu. I feel like a lot of times when he's on, I'm just like I don't really care about like this plot or whatever. Like I don't really care about
Yeah.
like the beef that he has with Drake or whatever, um, or like whatever the deal is here, where he's like chasing around Apu or chasing around Drake. Um, I'm like just not very invested in this
I thought it
character.
was pretty funny how he just like tanked the CP0 attack.
Yeah. Now, if Apu got a fight with Brook here, now that would be another story.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
I think
his
the likelihood of a Brook fight is basically like, especially by the end of these chapters, like there's no way it's gonna happen.
yeah.
Like we're too far in at this point.
Hmm.
I think all that's left is just you know, the rest of the All Stars, the Queen and King, and then also obviously Luffy fight. So
Yeah. I guess we can use that to
that
go into like CP0 because that's like one of the bigger parts of the chapter. But
yeah, that's
I
right about now
really love the
too.
panel with them diving down on them. It's like the panel of them diving down, and then you got the panel of Robin and Brook. That's a really cool two panels right there.
Yeah, it's just a shame that they literally like right after like they got hyped up. Like I remember like maybe like a chapter before this or a couple chapters, like Robin was like, "Oh man, these guys are like really scary." And I
Hmm.
remember we were kind of talking about like, wow, that's kind of like the worst possible way you could hype them up is just like have someone say that they're hype. Um, but like right after that happened, they just get burned up. Like like they're like literally, it's like a joke. Like they're like in this, and I mean they don't actually die to this, but it just like makes them look really fucking weak. Like right after they were hyped up, like just a fireball gets them.
I
Um, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it does that, but also I don't know. I feel like the fireball's been like hyped up as well. It's kind of like uh,
Fireball has been hyped up big
I
so
time.
do like the
Like,
fireball.
I
Yeah,
guess
like
yeah,
I guess it's a
yeah.
way to show how serious the fireball is, but at the same time, I agree with you because they were hyped up, and I've also heard
Yeah.
that CP0 is supposed to be like it's not like a upgrade to CP9. It's like a side grade, right? They're not any more powerful than CP9 hypothetically.
I mean, I don't know.
I feel like they
I mean,
should be,
I would
but I
kind
don't
of
know.
like it's
I
really
can't remember where I
hard to
heard
gauge.
that. Yeah, I guess power scaling's not
I mean, I guess we get a
direct,
little
but
bit more power scaling of them in this chapter because
mm,
they do kind of. I mean, they get up after this,
yeah.
and then they.
I think in my mind the way the CP organizations work is not so much strength, but like the stealth and knowledge. Like in my mind, the CP0 is just a better um a better like undercover agency than
They're
CP9.
they're more secretive. They're
Yeah,
better at
yeah,
the. I
something
can see
like
that.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I feel like they kind of have to be stronger because like, or else there's like. I mean, they're probably not going to be like as focused as CP9. They're not going to get like a whole arc or whatever. But I mean, it's like if they're just as strong as CP9, then they should probably kind of be a joke to our characters at this point. You know,
Hmm.
like Luffy beat Lucci in like all the way back
A
in.
long time ago.
Yeah, so long ago. He's
That's
so
why.
much more powerful now.
That's why I think I drew the comparison last time. This all just seems like a Team Rocket. Like we're here to get Nico Robin, and they're just gonna get
Yeah.
kicked by.
Yeah, look, I never
Brook's
thought
gonna
they were as
smack him with his cane, and
intimidating.
they're gonna go flying off and blink into the sky. You know.
Plus, the whole mask thing is really dumb. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't make any sense. Like why? Like it's like just like oh, Oda's like, well, people associate masks with CP9, so like I'll give them masks. But like it's not that like CP9 wore masks because they were CP9. It was because like they were in Water 7, which like had like masks. So
Hmm.
they were like actually using them. Like this doesn't make them like blend in any way. Like they're so conspicuous. Like it's like the opposite of what you'd want when you're undercover.
Yeah.
I
Um,
I
and then
think
also the fact that like Lucci is in CP, it just is like it just makes it seem like Oda's just trying to like capitalize on the
I
fact that
do
the
think they
fans like
look cool.
CP9.
I love the look of their masks, but I can see why the lore or the background behind it makes no sense.
Yeah, I that pisses me off. Like, yeah,
I think he's also going for like the big chapter where they finally take off their masks. You know
Yeah.
that's a big part of it too, because I'll be the first one to be like, oh, that's what he looks like. Like, you know, that's what happened with King, which we'll get to later. But those chapters are always cool, where it's like a big reveal.
Can you imagine if freaking somebody that you knew, like Kobe, was in CP0? Holy shit, that'd be crazy, bro. Not
yeah,
that
but
he, not that
he's
he
probably
ever
not in
would be,
CP
but
zero. Yeah,
Yeah.
just because like he's already in what is it in Sword, and I mean as you can see here, I don't think that CP0 and Sword get along
no,
because
I don't think so.
yeah, they basically like right after they land, there's like the whole thing where they get in like a fight with well,
Oh,
first
gets
they fight.
bodied.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
kind of get
first they
wrecked.
fight Apoo. Well, because Apoo literally like the brainiac that he is, he's like, oh man, I'm gonna like. Not only does he like take a picture of that, because I guess they're not supposed to be here because they're like government agents and like they're here because they're like doing weapons deals with Kaido or something. But like Apu is like, oh, I'm gonna like tell Big News Morgans, but he like announces the fact that he's like taking pictures of them
Yeah.
and like uses a flash cam. It's like, dude, like what is your problem? Like, why would you do this? Like, this just makes me like Apu so much less because he's just like a dumbass. Um, and then he like, it's not even that he's like a dumbass that can like defend himself because he just kind of gets like bodied by the CP9 or the CP0 guy. And they start fighting Drake because they're, I guess, like on different sides of like the government. I don't know. I mean, I think it's kind of been like presented that like Sword are like the good guys or whatever. Like they're trying to like kind of like reform the Marines or something.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because like Kobe's on them and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, and
Well,
obviously CP0
but yeah,
are
yeah.
not.
I mean, I guess the CP9 and CP0 kind of vibe has been around for a bit, so I'm definitely curious to see how they bring Sword, especially with like everything that's developing. But
Yeah,
yeah,
but yeah,
it's.
absolutely horrible showing from Apu here.
What do you
Horrible.
mean, dude? Look at what's coming to them. That's
Oh yeah, and then but yeah,
that's a
and
cool
then
panel.
also
I mean, I'm kind of partial because I like dinosaurs and X Drake's fucking what is he, an Allosaurus? He's so cool.
yeah, yeah, but then he kind of gets bodied too.
Yeah.
Oh, and then but that doesn't happen yet, I guess. Um, Also, it's really like annoying that like Apu like gets gets bodied, and then you have the panel where he's like down and there's like blood gushing out of his neck, but then he just gets back up and he's fine. Like
That's
I,
because
I guess
he's
it's
so tanky, dude.
I know, but if he's so tanky, then why would he just like don't show him bleeding? Like it's like I don't know. I think this is a problem that Oda has just in general, where like
Yeah.
one panel he'll show someone like really damaged, and then the next they're like fine.
Yeah.
Um, and it's like, dude, like if you want, I wanted to have him get back. It just feels cheap, you know. It's like, oh, like
Yeah.
It
I
makes
guess
it.
in this case, it's not that bad because like it only lasts for like a page before he like gets back up. So it's not like there's like chapters where we're expecting Apu like to just be like dead or gone or whatever. Um, and then he's back up, and it's like that would be annoying, but it's still like bad because just don't like I want consistency in like the consequences and stuff of like people getting beat.
It makes it really hard to gauge like where the fight's at and like what a character how the character is doing and like this is like a smaller fight so I don't care as much but like yeah seeing like Apu covered in scratches and bleeding and coughing up blood and blood's coming out of his neck and stuff like that and then like gets up like nothing it's just like save that for when he's really injured.
Yeah, and he's like he says like, oh, I can use armament hockey, so like you should not be surprised. But it's like you were if you were using armament hockey, like why were you bleeding? Like that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. I get that. I do like the dynamic between X Drake and CP0 though because it's like CP0's undercover and X Drake's also
Yeah.
undercover, and I liked that conversation they had where it was like, well, I know why you're here, and I would love to know if you know why I'm here. I would love to know why you're here.
Yeah, pretty cool, pretty cool. But I think that that's like the cool thing about Drake. Like I don't really care about Drake other than like the implications for like Sword. Like I think that could be cool.
Hmm.
But
Mhm.
like I don't know, Drake is just kind of like he doesn't really have much of a personality. Um, yeah. Uh,
um and then we get to a continuation of the Zoro and King fight unless somebody else has anything about CP0.
No, not
All
on
right.
this
Not really.
chapter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and we get some more great archaeology by Oda. I've been very impressed with his archaeological knowledge. How
Yeah.
dinosaurs hunt their prey, and you know how Brachiosaurus used to look, and Triceracopter, etc., etc.
Yeah.
The list goes on. The genius of Oda knows no bounds. Like I said, this reminded me of um, Beetlejuice with him stretching his face out, and it's just so ridiculous, and I love it. It's very Oda. And like for a character as serious as King, for him to show him stretching his face, and especially that one panel where it's just him like biting his lower lip and just it looks so dumb. I love
Yeah,
it so much.
Yeah, no, definitely a good gag of like dinosaurs like not acting how we expect them,
Yeah.
or like them just like coming up with new ways that
I
dinosaurs
think
act.
this is all just comedic payback for him getting criticized. I think it was the Spinosaurus or something like that. One of the other dinosaurs he had a lot earlier. He got it wrong, and people were criticizing him for that. So he's just taking the shit out of them now.
Yeah, and I like. I mean, he stretches his face really far. Like
Yeah,
it,
It
like
does go back far.
I love the way they
it
show
goes
the
back really
speed.
far. Yeah, like the panel where it's just like, uh, you just have like a line, like going like really, really far. Like it's like all the way down there. Like he just hits Zoro with
And
his
it
face.
blows up like the entire room.
Yeah. Um,
Also, the
and I
fact that
love
the
that
attack's
like,
called Imperial Tempura Udon. Like, what the fuck is that attack name? I don't get it.
yeah,
I do like how there's some parallels though, because when we're talking Zoro or we're talking Sanji, you always got to compare. That's just the way it goes.
Hmm.
But I do like the differences in how they've handled something goofy like that. Like Sanji just kind of rolled with it and just he was definitely dealing with someone who was a bit more goofy,
Hmm.
yeah,
but he just kind of rolled with it, and Zoro's like, is that supposed to happen?
yeah.
I feel like Zoro's is like the way it's written here is like so he's like, oh, that's how they hunted their prey. And he goes, damn it, is that so? Like he's like, is that really true? Like that's how they used to hunt?
Yeah.
He's like genuinely curious.
No, but then he's like, I feel like he doesn't believe him because then he's like, I suppose pteranodons flew with fire on their backs too, and then like calling him out for like, okay,
Oh, I
that's
can see
like
that. Yeah,
clearly
yeah,
not. But then I love like the Chad no that like that King gives. It's just like no,
Nah.
like that's not why. Like that's
King's like, don't
uh,
be ridiculous.
yeah. He's acting like quite a Chad here.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
yeah. Um. Yeah. I mean,
This
like
story
he,
is like, or sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna like talk about kind of like the rest of the fight. Like, I mean, it's weird that like, oh, I guess he does. Never mind. He's like, he like throws his slash, like he learned how to do a long ass time ago.
Hmm.
Uh, and then he does, yeah. So then he does like one of his like really, what is it, Great Dragon Twist or whatever attack, and he's basically not able to do damage to him.
Hmm.
Uh, and so it seems like King is quite the intimidating opponent just based on this chapter.
Yeah,
Uh,
this section of the fight in this chapter is like my favorite part of like a One Piece fight, where it's like just pure. I mean, there's some jokiness to it. There's like a jokiness figuring out King, with the stuff we just talked about, but like one character fighting another character and figuring out like his deal. So like he makes a joke about, oh, suppose they flew with fire on his backs, and like I think he noticed it in a previous chapter, like the fire on his back, and him just being like, oh, so he doesn't take damage. He's blocking with his wings, doesn't take damage in this scenario. It's like he's figuring it out, and we're like figuring it out with him, and it's very rewarding as for me at least as a reader, seeing somebody's um, their mentality as they approach the fight. And I think we've compared this fight to him versus Mr. One before. That's the vibe that I get a lot for sure.
I mean, that's definitely like the best Zoro fight. So we'll see if it compares. I feel like at this point he's basically just noticing like, okay, like this guy is like really tough. He's just kind of like hyping him up. He's like, this guy is like actually a good opponent for me because I mean, well, he's just going to be a tough opponent for Zoro. That's kind of
Yeah,
what he's saying.
and we get more discussion on what race he is. He's thinking fishman or giant, stuff like that. So
Yeah, I like that
and
that Zoro is so concerned with like what race King is.
hmm.
Uh it definitely like, you know, it definitely lends credence to like the minority hunter Zoro meme, where
This
Zoro is secretly
entire
really
fight,
racist.
it did no favors for Zoro.
He's just like, I gotta figure out what race this guy is.
Yeah. I can't. He literally says, "I cannot win if I don't figure out what race this guy is."
Yeah.
I remember reading this chapter and being really excited because I'm one of those people who, for Zoro, I really do want to see like a really um technical sword fight. And in this chapter, King comes out with his giant ass black sword, and he's like, "You're not the only one that craves a good duel."
Yeah.
So in my head at this time, I'm like, "Let's go! We're about to get like the samurai duel that we've been wanting out of Zoro and Wano for this whole time."
Yeah.
And so I was really pumped at this chapter for that.
Yeah, King going from like, because I remember he kind of called that out about Zoro before. He's like, "Oh, you probably want a sword fight or whatever, but like I can do so much more than that." And like he has done that up until this point. But for him to just straight up say, "Don't worry, you can see how I work with my blade too," like that, like you said, that's a pretty good moment to as a reader.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, and sword wise, we get some and spooky Enma stuff going on.
Zoro's got some Enma erectile dysfunction going on.
Yeah. Yeah, he can't quite get it up with Enma yet. Enma's kind of like sucking him dry. Um, but yeah, I mean, like at this point, he's definitely struggling with his sword. So, like, I feel like what I was thinking at this point is I was like, okay, damn, like if Zoro, like he basically makes no progress against King in this chapter. It's like because King is not able to like he's not taking damage from Zoro's attacks. And then he's even able to like beat him back with like all these repeated sword blows and stuff. And so it's like now that he's having trouble with Enma, it's like how the fuck is he gonna beat him like that? It's like he couldn't beat him when he was like normal, then how can he do it now? So
You just gotta
I
figure
guess
out
we'll
what
see.
race he is.
Yeah, and then he'll get the power up once he finds out that he's
Oh yeah.
yeah. But I think we cut away from that fight now. Um, and then we get like Orochi is there, and he's like he hears the shamisen, and then he comes in to like see Komurasaki, um, and he's like, "Wow, I'm gonna get a nut. This is gonna be great." Um, and yeah, I mean, like it's kind of I don't know, it's kind of weird that like I mean, okay, it makes sense that Komurasaki is here, I guess, like or at least it's been established already. Like they kind of they hinted that it was her that like healed the scabbards after
Mm.
their fight with Kaido. Um, I think this like basically confirms that it was her. So it wasn't Enaru like everyone thought. Um,
Darn.
yeah, which is a shame, but that just means that Enaru will come back later and it'll be even more epic.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean like I don't know, it's just like I feel like this is just so okay, like is this the reason that she came like just to like kill Orochi or whatever? Like she's gonna like do like a sneaky thing where she like lures him in and then gets revenge on him. Like I don't know. Um,
She just wants to play her shamisen, dude.
yeah, it's also just like why like if this is the whole point that like why she was like a prostitute for so long, um, just to like get close to Orochi and kill him like in this specific moment, like that's just gonna be like I don't know. I guess it could be good. Like, we'll see what Oda does with it. But it's just like I always thought it was really weird that like that she was like became a prostitute. Like why did she have to be a prostitute to be undercover? Like she could have picked any other job, but like
Yeah.
it just seems kind of like that was contrived just to like get this moment is kind of what how I'm thinking about it now. Um, but like I don't know. I guess we'll see. Like it has
Yeah.
this hasn't ended yet,
It
so
wasn't. I feel like he usually goes for like the super hype endings for a chapter, and this one was kind of like, eh.
yeah.
I agree. Uh,
Just
yeah, I don't really care too much about Orochi in general,
Yeah.
he's already
but
died like 3 times at this point,
yeah,
so
maybe Komurasaki just wants one last look at that Hydra cock.
yeah.
He's happy man here, and I'm not really a fan of happy Orochi. I'm not a fan of Orochi. He's kind of another Weasel character, and I'm not a fan of the Weasel character.
He's a weasel character done in the way that it's meant to be portrayed
It's like
as
more
a
towards
bad
the
thing,
archetype, not the comedic Weasel's character. He's like
not the comedic weasel that we see
kind
out
of
of
the
Apoo.
kind of the ones you see in like a in um just like more I guess, more classic like secondary villain roles,
Yeah.
which is
Yep.
what he is, a secondary villain. Yeah, that was yeah, like I said, not the most hyped end to the chapter 1032, but it was certainly an end.
Yep.
Yeah, so I guess we'll just go to 1033 then.
Yep. I'm going to go on to the next one.
1033. So we start with the cover, which is
Smoker.
Tashigi, yeah, and Smoker. Smoker's got an upgrade. He's got a quite the upgrade. It looks like to his sea stone freaking staff things. Are those sea stone? I think they're sea stone, right?
Yeah, there's Sea Stone.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or I
So
think just the tip is Sea Stone.
I don't know if he's got just one of those now, but it's much longer, and we've got Tashigi playing the villain for some baby penguins that are pretending to be heroes. So cute. Smoker's not having any part of it.
Fun cover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't see a lot of Tashigi and Smoker these days, so.
They're not quite relevant anymore.
And yeah, I guess we jump right back into Zoro versus King. So this is the titular chapter of Zoro versus King, and we get quite the duel with him, and then we get a bit of Sanji and King as well, or Sanji and Queen. So, um, but yeah, first we get like we were talking about, Enma giving Zoro the suck, and King even gets him on some hilarious comedy, Trouble in Paradise, like they're married or something. It's King showing his lighter side for once.
What a funny guy.
Yeah, he's I'm rolling on the floor laughing.
What are you trying to pull?
And then yeah, we
Yeah.
get Zoro hitting him with a direct hit, and he seems pretty. I don't know, that one panel where he says a direct hit seems like he's just like taunting him, and Zoro is
I
like,
think that he's basically saying it doesn't matter if you hit me. Like I will
yeah,
literally do all these hits and it doesn't matter.
yeah, and Zoro is pretty dumbfounded at that whole thing, because usually if you hit somebody like they show right there, it's gonna be doing some damage, and instead it just blows up, and we'll see how that goes. But we got a very short reintroduction to this for the titular chapter.
And Queen basically tells us exactly what King is and why he's bodying all of these, or he's tanking all of these attacks.
Yeah,
Turns out he's Lunarian.
yeah, we the cutaway from the very first section into the Queen dialogue was I had a little chuckle at that just because Queen just can't shut his mouth and he's always got to be the one giving the exposition.
Queen is based. I love Queen. I love Queen.
Queen is pretty funny.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess they connect it with him, with Sanji and Zoro having just talked, and Queen talks about that, but I don't know. It's just it was funny to me because like that fight was not. I was like, oh, I'm reading Zoro versus King. This is the hypest chapter ever. And then like 2 seconds in, it's like, oh, Sanji and Queen are in this chapter. Oh, okay. And then it goes back to Zoro and King like immediately because it literally just cuts for Queen to give the exposition. I was loving that because he's done that so many times at this point. Can't help himself.
Yeah, Queen loves to talk, and I love everything that comes out of his mouth.
Hmm.
Um,
On the topic of what
even
he's talking about, the Lunarian is one that we discussed before as an option. Um, I don't remember their entire background, but it's
they were wiped out by the world government.
yeah,
And I mean, considering that they're called Lunarians, I think they probably lived on the moon at some point.
hmm
Maybe they
some kind of
came to
connection
the
with the
Earth.
moon. Yeah,
They
um,
came to the Earth. I mean,
They
I
can
think they're
survive
probably,
any environment.
yeah, like the moon.
Yeah. Yep.
They probably came to the Earth or something. They lived on the Grand or on the Red Line is what we know, and then they got wiped out by the world government.
yeah. Um, we'll I think I saw somebody saying that they probably lived where Menagerie is right now, and that's why they got wiped out because
That would make sense. Yeah.
they just took over
Cool.
that area.
Yeah, they just eradicated the inhabitants at
Yeah.
Menagerie.
And took Menagerie,
Yeah.
yeah. So that would make sense to me, and I'm more than content with it. Doesn't really do too much, but yeah, we get back to the actual fight. And it's more of the good stuff with him trying to figure it out and him doing all these things, and then we get some more stretchy face, which is still funny. A whole chapter later, the stretchy face doesn't lose the funniness of it,
No.
especially because like the dialogue, the I guess it's an onomatopoeia, but it's like in a regular text box where it just says stretch. Reading that was pretty funny to me.
Yeah. He gets hit by like the stretch face attack because of Enma at inopportune times, sucking him.
King's
And
laughing his ass off at that fact too. He's
Yeah.
like, "You can't even handle your own sword. You're gonna beat me."
Yeah.
Definitely the most
I mean,
emoted
it
we've
is.
seen him.
Yeah. He is laughing.
Yeah.
Uh, and I mean, yeah, things are looking pretty bad for Zoro right now.
Yeah,
He's
I
just
think
falling off the side of
I feel like
Onigashima.
we've got our first Zoro flashback in a very long time. I can't remember when we got our last Zoro flashback, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably like
Since he
I think the year
joined,
before.
probably,
Yeah.
or when he saw Tashigi, maybe, and it like made him think about uh whatever her name is,
yeah.
Kuina.
Queena. Yeah.
It's like when I first started reading One Piece and I accidentally got spoiled on the fact that we don't get Sanji backstory again. After he joins the crew, we don't get Sanji backstory again until chapter 800 something.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is kind of like what Oda's doing now. He's kind of like going back and like adding more to like backstories of the characters, and it's like I don't know how I feel about that, to be honest.
Yeah, I guess back then when they joined, they didn't really need it. I guess Nami was the one that got the most probably. I feel
Yeah,
like Usopp it wouldn't fit too well because he was kind of explained it all, but Sanji and Zoro always had like some kind of air of mysteriousness to them. Um, with Sanji being before he got to the restaurant, and Zoro was he already had a name for himself and kind of a life before this, so um,
yeah. It just
Zoro,
wasn't really ever like implied that there were gaps in their backstory. I don't think it was kind of just like,
yeah,
okay, like we don't really need to know that. Like it was just like, yeah, who they are.
yeah,
So
So
we didn't get much lore behind like swords until Wano, you know.
yeah. We get a little bit every near and then.
You got a little bit, I guess, especially when he got the cursed sword.
Yeah, in
yeah,
in in Logetown.
Yeah.
And also, I guess we get some in like Thriller Bark when he gets there.
Thriller
So.
Bark when
hmm
he's fighting Ryuma. Yeah.
Mhm.
So
basically
yeah,
anytime Zoro
I
gets a
guess
new
there's been
sword.
little breadcrumbs along the way, but yeah, once Wano's introduced, now it's just the swords have so much meaning.
Mhm.
Not
And
gonna lie, I don't really care that much about the sword lore. Like I like that I like Zoro's connection with his swords. Like I like that he like feels like okay, like I like it when he's like uh gets blasted off Onigashima, he like goes and like makes an effort to like grab his sword, uh like the Sandaiki Tetsu one. Um so it's like that's cool. Like I like that Zoro cares. But like I don't really care about the specifics of like the swords, like
I thought they would be
I
a
don't care so much for how detailed it gets, but I do think it's kind of cool how certain swords have more meaning than just a random sword you find on a random island.
yeah. I I definitely thought when they first introduced in Logetown the idea of being there, like, oh, there's 21 of these swords, 10 of these swords, 3 of these swords. And I thought that was going to be a much bigger thing with Zoro constantly upgrading his entire arsenal or whatever, or
yeah.
except for the one. But it didn't end up really being that. I do like the idea of that. I think the one place that it falls short is like Zoro's backstory, name-wise, is very difficult for me. There's a lot of very long Japanese names, and I cannot keep anybody straight. It's like the Master Swordsmith Shimotsuki Kozuburo, and like Zoro's family name is very long, and then we've got some other people that are introduced on his island that have long names. I can't keep anybody straight. I'm bad enough with names as it is, and yeah, that was the biggest struggle with Zoro's backstory for me.
Yeah, I mean, you usually have to be reminded of, of these things by people.
Yeah,
Like,
somebody will be like, "Oh my God, that's that guy." I'm like, "Oh, yeah."
yeah, because it was like a big deal when like they got to Wano and like there was a guy who was named Shimotsugi because everyone was like, oh, that's like what Zoro's village was, and it's like, dude, I did not remember that, but like, thank you for
Yeah.
pointing that out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Also, the snatch term was never a thing until recently.
Oh yeah, that just like reeks of like retcon. It's
Yeah.
just yeah. I mean, I think in the chapter, like Zoro is like later on, it like thinks about Tsunachi or whatever, and he's like thinking about how he like told that to Momo, and he was like, oh yeah, I like never actually said that, but like here's what it means or whatever. It's like that's such a weird thing to like bring up, like, oh, I like never actually said this word, but like
I
here's
honestly did
Little
not.
bit.
I honestly did not remember that.
yeah, I don't know. I always thought that was weird because
Yeah.
it just seems like a way that like Oda's trying to like make the connection between Wano and like Zoro, but like it since it didn't exist before, like pulling it up now doesn't actually like add anything. It's like, oh well, like you clearly are just coming up with this now. Like you would have like
That that that
inserted
that
something.
that's a dead giveaway.
Dead giveaway.
Yeah.
Um,
Um.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah. So
continuation
he
of what,
dives after the sword or whatever.
yeah.
He thinks about stuff. He's thinking about all the swords. That's nice. Um, I like that, Zoro has like a connection with his swords.
I like
Nice.
seeing emotive little Zoro. It's something we don't see a lot of Zoro. He's usually pretty stone faced, so seeing baby Zoro being very emotive, sticking out his tongue, being like this very surprised face, angry face, happy face, etc., etc. Something you don't see a lot of Zoro, so that was honestly one of my favorite parts about the backstory. Him being so excited about swords, because he's usually just you know, resting bitch face or angry. Those are the two emotions that Zoro has usually. Or
Yeah.
sleeping.
Um, yeah, it was good. I
Yeah.
mean, like,
Acer, cool character though.
I like his unibrow.
I
It's
think
like,
I don't like that we're like giving backstory to like the two like nameless swords that Zoro had, like that he broke when he was fighting Mihawk.
hmm
Because it's like, dude, like who, like those were just swords, like they were never implied to be special before. Like, I don't know. I just don't, I think that some things don't need to be explained. It's like no one asked for this,
With that, I agree with that.
Yep.
like and it's like it's retroactively like kind of like trying to give them more significance because they're like, oh wow, like those swords were actually also made by like the same guy, but at the same time like they were never implied to be anything special. I mean, they literally like got broken not that far into the story. So
Yep.
just like, I don't know, it's
It
like
it,
weird.
it, it wasn't the sword that was handed down to him from Quina, who was handed down from the village geezer who turned out to be her grandfather. It was just some random swords. I agree with that.
Yeah. I mean,
Some random swords that happened to be in the East Blue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. I'm on the same page. I do like. Yeah. It's. Yeah. I guess you mentioned the word retcon and just yeah. I guess giving significance to things that otherwise didn't have significance when they really don't need it is something that irks me. But if it's something that still matters, I guess that makes sense. But yeah, it's
It's just weird because it's like at what point does this stop? Like, do we need an explanation for like every like little minute detail about like every character? Like
yeah,
I would say that we don't need that. Like I think
and
that
that's
we
what
should
I'm
just
worried
focus on
about.
the
That
important stuff.
I'm worried about Oda's gonna do this for like 10 other characters, or especially like Luffy, and like he'll go back and be like, "Oh, Luffy walked this way when he was talking to Shanks as a kid in the bar. He walked to the right here because that's what the fruit told him to do, or some shit like that." It's like, what the fuck? We don't need
Yeah,
this.
like we don't need an explanation for everything, and it just kind of like it just. I mean, for one, it just takes away time that we could be like spending on other things. Like I don't know. I mean, like the fight as of now, like I feel like it could be more fleshed out. Like it's kind of just like Zoro getting beaten a bunch. Um, so I mean, like you could just I'd rather have more fight chapters where it's like stuff that's relevant to like what's happening now than like adding backstory to things that doesn't need it. Um, yeah,
Yeah, I can see what you
I
say.
just realized by rereading this chapter that Enma's title is the King of Hell, which has some significance.
Yeah, especially because Zoro's got the demon uh, aesthetic around him. He's got the
yeah.
that's his whole aesthetic is
The
demons.
king of the hill.
King of the
King, I'll tell you what.
God dang it, Bobby.
Bull.
God, if Zoro did that, I would be fully
Yeah,
on
you
board.
know, Hank.
If
That's
we
what
Yeah,
the
just
story's
if
called.
every slash that Zoro makes, he goes
can you
bull.
imagine if the village geezer was Hank Hill, dude? Holy shit.
Dude, that's that. I think that's what I'm picturing in that one panel where they're all like avoiding Kaido's attack.
Oh yeah,
Bull.
um, yeah. The I mean, you're not wrong though because King says, "Oh, you've got kingly ambitions." So,
Yeah.
you know, could be the king of the hill. Um,
yeah.
Enma wise
And
though, I really like. I mean, just the title um, is a very cool title, and also the fact that Enma can resize to fit Zoro's hands is pretty sick too. Because Odin wielded that sword, and it was much much bigger when he was wielding it. So
yeah,
that's some Dark Souls shit right there when you get a boss weapon.
yeah. Zoro is manly compared to Odin. Um, yeah. I mean, okay, I think this is like kind of cool that like this is kind of like the first time where like Conqueror's hockey is actually doing something legit, like not just like knocking out fodder. Like that never mattered because the fodder have never been important at any
Hmm.
point in the story. But like I guess it's kind of cool to like make the sword bend to his will. That like he needs the Conqueror's hockey to do that.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know.
I don't. Yeah, the fodder there was just literally fodder is there to show that somebody has the hockey.
Yeah,
It's literally
like whenever, yeah,
anytime
Yes.
fodder shows up in a fight, it's like, okay, he needs to show off his hockey right now. We need some
yeah,
people
it's
here foaming at the mouth.
Everyone's got to
Pronto,
collapse.
pronto. Oda's like, oh shit, we need to draw some people foaming at the mouth.
Yeah.
like there's some like people that really care about that stuff though that are like, oh, like these characters have the hockey and like that makes them really cool. But it's like I could not care less. Like I don't care what kind of hockey people have. Like it just yeah, it's not it doesn't actually mean anything like important. Like it doesn't actually affect the fight. Like the fight just gets written around whether they have like hockey or not.
Yeah,
So it doesn't really matter.
yeah. I do
He
love King's
assumed
line.
you got the hockey now.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, it
I love
basically
the
only
ending of this
matters for
chapter.
like the Luffy fights. Like that's
Yeah.
what it matters for. Yeah.
The end of this chapter is the opposite of the last chapter, where I was extremely hyped at this end with him saying, "You've got kingly ambitions," and then he's just like, "Damn straight! I made a promise to my captain and to my down D stairs friend."
Yeah. Pretty good. Pretty
Yeah,
good.
especially with the panel of Luffy. It was a very hype panel for me, and I was like, "Oh shit, need next week to come pronto." Luckily,
Any callback to like Luffy bringing in the the Nakama, or it's always hype.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Or any time one of the Straw Hats are like, yeah, he's gonna be the king of the pirates, so I
Yeah.
gotta step up.
Anytime they
Those
mention him
those
being
are
the
always
Pirate
hype.
King or mentioning him being like their driving force for what they're doing at the moment is so hype. Because
Yeah.
Luffy is like moment to moment, Luffy's pretty aloof, but whenever somebody uses his charm as like a motivation, it's very
Drawing
good.
inspiration
Yeah,
off of Luffy. Yeah.
it's very touching, and especially for someone as stoic as Zoro, whenever he says Luffy, like we had a previous moment with him saying the wings of the Pirate King and stuff like that, or anything
Hmm.
like that. With Zoro being as stoic as he is, it's definitely double the impact. Or even with like when Robin says it, she's not like the most. She's more emotive than Zoro, but she's still like more reserved than like Nami or whatever. So she's her saying it or Junbei saying it is always a hype moment.
I agree. I like the crew. I like when we focus on the crew instead of other side characters that for arcs.
Apoo.
Yeah, exactly.
I like Apoo.
I think that's good for us in 10:33. If anybody's got anything else.
I think that's good for me.
All right. You want to kick off 10:34, Mr. Kyle?
Yeah, sure. In the this one is Sanji versus Queen. In the cover arc or cover picture, it's Usopp wins prizes for kids at a shooting range during a festival. Pretty nice. Usopp is doing some sniping. Good for him.
Yeah. Of the three we've had so far, my least favorite, but it's also not bad just because of that. It's just
I think he
not
missed a chance to give Usopp the Soge King mask.
or like a Japanese version of the Soge King mask would have been really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Like a kabuki theater version of the Soge King mask would have been super cool to see.
We don't get to see Usopp like in a badass position too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool.
I guess. I don't know if this is. I don't think badass would be the. I guess like the pose is badass maybe, but
Yeah.
he's still like it's still
He's
not
chomping
like,
on something. He's got a
he's got some
big
chaw.
ass cheek going, yeah.
He's got some chaw, dude. He's got some tobacco. Yeah, I don't know. I like seeing Usopp, so it's always nice, I guess.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, we get the. I don't know. These titular fight chapters are always. Whenever you see a titular fight chapter, even though like the last one was not the resolution of the fight, it's always, for me at least, it's a hype moment because.
Oh, the last one I don't think was called Zoro versus King. I think it was just
Was it
called
not?
something else.
Okay.
No.
But I don't know. My mind always goes back to Alabasta because like it was like 5 in a row, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, I mean that was sick.
That was awesome, and that's where my mind always goes whenever the title is a fight, because you know it's about to get serious.
Yeah. That is a good gold standard to hold up the fights to, I think.
Yeah.
Alabasta fights.
I think Oda's got some good psychology behind how he likes to train his readers with his titles for chapters. I think he's got a good formula going with most of them. I mean, usually it's not anything super special, but you've got a few like fight titles and stuff like that. So he knows how to train his readers to get hype at weird shit that nobody else would get hype at.
Yeah.
I mean, he's had 1,000 chapters to do it, so. Yeah, we get the continuation of the fight, and I think this is the resolution as well. But the question that was asked beforehand was Sanji the one that hurt the lady? And I don't think any of us thought he was. I think we were all skeptical about that.
No way. There was no doubt in my mind.
Yeah.
It will never happen.
No.
Never. That's the one line it'll never cross.
Yeah.
Especially when he made like such a big deal out of it going to Zoro and like, if it turns out I'm no longer myself, you need to execute me.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yeah, right, that ever happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was never really worried. I feel like the stakes for that whole situation were pretty low. Like I didn't really think that was.
It was like a weird like side like psychological thing that Queen was trying to go for. Like you said, the stakes weren't like super high. Like it's not something I super cared about, but it was there as kind. I think it was the main reason it was like trying to show because Sanji's in like a personality crisis right now. So if that was like adding on top of that personality crisis, like that would make it a bit more serious of a situation. But it's not really that situation. It's specifically the serious. It's kind of like the broader scope of things. Sanji losing his personality or becoming a a robot like his brothers are. So that specific one was not. I didn't really care too much for it, but broader scope wise, I guess. Broader scope wise, though, I'm also not too concerned with Sanji becoming a robot. If he was going to become one, I don't think it would be in this fight. I think that's like a end game type of deal, not a Wano fight type of deal. So
Yeah, I don't really think that's gonna happen, to be
uh,
honest.
yeah, never really super concerned about
Sanji's
that.
always been a good boy.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think they would do that to you know one of the top threes.
Prince.
Yes. And then we jump really quickly into Momo doing his thing. It's like I think 3 panels, something like that. Um, just kind of a reassurance
Just to
moment.
remind us
Yeah,
that's
Momo,
going on.
Momo
Yeah.
doing his thing. Yeah,
Yeah,
guys,
just to
he's still here.
remind us that's a thing.
He's still here doing his thing.
There's the
He's
flower capital going on the mainland, and
yeah.
we can't interfere with that.
I think having these like tiny moments is nice every now and then because I don't know if we get another one with the flower capital before 37, but I remember in 37 it's like starts with like just like a really kind of a cold open type of deal with that, and we'll get to that. But I think having these smaller moments kind of reminds
It
the
breaks it up.
yeah. I mean, you got weeks between these chapters, so it breaks it up and kind of reminds the stakes and um, sets the scene a bit, I guess. So I don't
Yeah.
mind it too much. It's like 3 panels. It's really not.
Right.
And Momo's dragons looks cool. I mean, like the Chinese dragons always look cool. So, um, and then yeah, we get back to the fight. It's more Laser Queen, which I always love. It's
Yeah.
so. I love the panel with him shooting lasers out of his eyes. It looks so cool. It looks so silly. It's so Queen, so Oda. I feel like Oda
Queen
puts a
is
lot of his.
easily the best character to come out
Yeah,
of Wano.
I think
Yeah.
Oda has put more of his comedy into Queen than he's put into most characters in One Piece. I think
Yeah.
Blackbeard might be up there. Um, yeah, I like this fight a lot.
Yeah, that's sick. I mean, yeah, I just love Queen Space. And I
Queen
love how
is
he's like copying all of the Germa double six attacks. Um and like I like how it's pretty funny how he just replaces all their names with Queen.
yeah, it's very
Yeah.
Queen to do. And
Um
he's like testing Sanji almost. He's like, oh yeah, I've figured out your technology. Just let's see when you notice this. I'll use a couple moves from your brothers and sisters, or sister,
yeah.
I guess.
It's just really weird that like the other chapter Queen was like, Sanji, you have to transform. I need to see. And that was funny, but then it's like that doesn't make any sense now because like he actually knew all of the techniques. Like he copied all of them. So like
Maybe,
why was he just trolling him there?
yeah, maybe I don't know. Maybe he was just kind of egging him on. Maybe he knew that the suit would uh turn him into something he didn't want to be. I don't know. I think did we get confirmation that the suit is what triggered it? Like him putting it on the first time or whatever? I feel like we got confirmation somewhere about
I
that.
think we did.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Um,
But I mean, it didn't even end up happening. So
yeah, it doesn't really matter
Queen would
that
have been
much.
wrong about that.
Yeah. Um, we get a whole bunch of really cool panels. Honestly, there this is one of my favorite chapters, just panel by panel wise. Maybe it's just like it speaks to the good character design of Queen. I love his. I mean, he pretty much stays in his. Would this be considered his hybrid form the whole time? Um,
Yeah, pretty
I
much.
feel like
Yeah.
it fits him very, very well. With him, he's got the iconic striped overalls at this point. And
Yes.
then he's got, the Brachiosaurus, but also just like the long mustache. He's got the goggles. I think it's one of the most iconic forms that we've seen in a character in a while. And he stays in it like the entire fight, except when he like, when he launches his neck out or whatever. But it fits a lot of his attacks very well. He's got the robotic
Best form
arm.
he has,
Yeah,
style wise.
yeah. He's got like the laser eyes, the laser shooting out of his mouth. Just so it just fits him so well.
Yeah.
He's awesome. I love Queen.
Mhm.
And also we've kind of like seen the extendo arm that like is one, like now we know that that's because he copied it from Germa 66,
Yeah,
which is cool. I like that.
yeah. He's got a couple of those on his tail and his. I like how his braid has one as well.
Yeah.
Just really stupid. um, the panel when he first goes stealth black is very cool. Um, I don't know the way he shows the stealth black is very cool. It's kind of like a gray lines, gray kind of whole thing as opposed to the black. It's a good like visual indicator that Oda goes for. And then he gives Queen an Enel face, which is pretty based. I love that panel after Sanji shows up, and I don't think I noticed the Enel face on my first read. I think I was just like maybe I was reading it too quickly, but seeing Queen Enel face is pretty funny.
Yeah. Yeah, and then also Sanji basically says, "Oh, I can do it too, but like I can just do it because I'm so fast, not because I'm actually invisible."
Yeah,
So like
I don't need
doesn't
this
even
shit.
need the suit.
Yeah. Um,
Uh,
and we get a little bit more with the girl and the the mouse. It's not not too interesting to me, I guess. It's nothing.
but we do get like incel Queen here because he's like, oh, she didn't want to fuck. Uh, she
Yeah.
was my number one ever since Komurasaki met her tragic end. And it's like, so does that mean that like Queen was also getting it in Komurasaki too? Like she really gets around. I mean,
Maybe.
Around. She's the number one prostitute in all of Wano,
yeah, he's
Wait,
just really makes me wonder why she chose that job. Like she could have been undercover with any other job. Just doesn't really make a lot of sense.
hmm
Maybe she enjoys it.
I guess so. But like she's like also doing it with all these dudes that like were
Have you
involved in
seen
killing
Queen?
others.
Sheesh.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that's a pretty, that's tough. He's got to hang out with all these guys that killed her father.
Yeah.
That's got to be hard for her.
hmm
And Sanji is able to make some super hot fire
Super hot fire.
with
Absolutely
a with
super
a
hot.
sturdy exoskeleton, enhanced strength, and super speed.
Oh baby. Yeah, I like how he uses all of it. It's stuff that he's been using a long time, and I guess they bring back the fact that his legs, well, the super speed was what made the fire on his legs originally, right? That was the explanation.
It was like friction, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess they kind of bring that back.
Yeah, it's just like I don't like that like now it's like unclear as like which it's unclear which of like Sanji's like how much of this is coming from like what he developed on his own and like what he earned and like what is coming from like his crazy genetics now,
Yeah.
Like
hmm
I mean I would think I talked about it the last time when it got revealed that this was like gonna be the thing for Sanji, but just want to say it again. Like it's annoying. I don't like
Yeah.
that. But I guess
I've learned to just not care anymore.
yeah, I mean it's here to stay and like I
Yeah.
gotta just get used to it, but I don't have to like it. So
Yeah.
I've learned to not look too much into how this shit's getting done. Like if 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 Zoro can do all his demon stuff without any devil fruits or anything, if Robin can turn herself into a demon, if all these people got this crazy stuff going on, I'm just not gonna I'm just gonna take it as it is.
Yeah. Can't do too much if it's
This
already.
is Super Saiyans, this is how do you go into a Super Saiyan form level 3 with the blue hair? Like it's all made up now.
I just miss how it was in the old piece where it
Yeah,
was like
there was a bit more logic behind it.
yeah, like now it just yeah it kind of I don't know, it feels like maybe Oda doesn't feel that he has the time to explain it, but like I mean, we've kind of identified a lot of things in the most recent chapters where I think he could have cut it and I would have been fine with it. And it's like, just a panel or something.
And
Well, I guess
he
it's
tries to explain it.
yeah. I guess honestly, at least in the case of Sanji, it's more that like I have a problem with the explanation that was given. It's not that there wasn't an explanation. It's just that like I
Yeah.
don't like that like yeah. That now
Yep.
this is like
I've come to terms with all of these power ups. It's we got to get power ups, and sometimes it's got to be outside the box.
Yeah. I'm kind of, I guess I'm in the same boat. Um, I do like the end of the panels, or end of the chapter. Very good series of panels with the end of the fight. Um, and I don't think we've seen his beef burst yet. So his boof burst.
The buff, that's how you pronounce it in French. Buff.
But that lady watching on would like some of Sanji's beef burst.
no, but she's like what Queen Sama? Like she's like she actually did like Queen the whole
She's a
time. It
queen
looks like
simp?
she yeah.
Jeez.
Same.
True.
So like kind of like maybe she was playing hard to get and oh and also this is the girl that Queen hit. So she's like I don't know maybe she's into that.
I love Sanji's line, "Get out of my sight, scum." I don't know what the official translation has, but the translation that we're looking at, that's a
Yeah.
cold line. He
Um
just shouts French at him and then says, get out of my sight, scum," and then shouts some more French at him and kicks his ass, and he is donezo.
I always liked Sanji's attack style too, where it's like combos.
Yeah.
He's there hitting them with the twirlies, and then he finally does his final blow at the end. It's a full combo attack.
He's like the opposite of Zoro, because Zoro always does like the one move that, the teleports behind you, nothing personnel kid type of deal. Where it's like a
Yeah.
big move, the air slash, and he's like, "Oh, that didn't work. Let me try a different one. Let me try a different one." It never feels like he's super comboing. Where Sanji, yeah, and I guess
Yeah,
maybe
he's just batting them off. Basse côté,
yeah,
pèlerin, jambon à beefsteak,
yeah
tenderon flanché, cul poiré, jarret. He's just going off.
he's juggling them like you juggle a soccer ball on your feet or something. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like that. I don't think I've ever noticed that before, but you're definitely right. It
yeah, it
fits.
definitely seems at this point that Queen is no match. Like he is not really giving Sanji much trouble here.
Yeah. I will say this fight is one that I like. I think, I mean, we'll get to Queen and Zoro after this one because I feel like that's the next chapter, but or King and Zoro. Um, but this one felt like it had better progression to me, just because Sanji was getting hits in, it just wasn't like the hit that he needed, I guess, and it did feel like Queen was taking hits, um, and he wasn't 100% throughout the battle. Whereas King, it felt like, we'll get to it. It kind of felt to me like he was just like, oh, that did nothing, that did nothing, that did nothing, that did nothing. And I guess it kind of fits the vibe that we were just talking about, where Zoro goes for the one big hit, where Sanji's kind of going for a bunch of small hits, and then the finale. Um, and I guess, yeah, now that I think about it, it kind of fits the vibe of both the characters. But I think I might just prefer the gradual decline of a boss fight as opposed to the one big Super Saiyan attack.
Yeah, I mean I prefer I kind of like I prefer the fights to have a little bit more push and pull. I feel like even the Queen fight doesn't really have enough of that because most of like the I guess what you would call like the low point of the fight for Sanji didn't actually have anything to do with Queen. It was like him like having his crisis about his emotions.
Yeah,
Um and so like I guess it's like it's good that there is like a narrative or whatever, but I still think that like it just I don't know, it doesn't really do Queen any favors, just because like Queen wasn't really the, the cause of that. Like it
hmm
was mostly just Sanji dealing with his own shit. Like if he didn't have to deal with that during this fight, then the fight would be like kind of he would just be steamrolling Queen.
yeah.
And I love Queen as a character, but as a Yonko commander, he kind of stinks.
Yeah, I was gonna say like it's like okay, I guess that Queen like isn't that much of a fighter because like he's more of like a tech
He's
guy
got
or
the
whatever.
scientist thing going on. Yeah.
I
But
feel like
but he really is like an all-star, so he should be like uh he should be like a fighter. Like he should be able to contend with at least like Sanji. Like Sanji isn't really that strong, especially compared to like how he should be against like Yonko Cruz. Um, and
He he
especially
he,
since
he
like
let all those prisoners out.
yeah,
He let all that go down at the prison he was in charge of.
yeah. I mean,
um,
I think it's fine that like Queen's kind of a goof, but it's just that like he wasn't really able to like put up much of a fight against Sanji. Like I think that's disappointing, especially since like most of the fights this arc have like kind of been steamrolls for most of our characters. There haven't been like a lot of like fights that really push the Straw Hats to their limit, I don't think.
yeah.
So I don't know. I would have liked if Sanji was a little bit more pushed to his limit during this fight. I never really felt that Sanji was going to die or anything. I mean, not that I like ever. I don't know. There's just been other fights where I've like it's been like even Sanji
It
fights
felt
where
like
I've
he
been
was
more
more on the
worried about
ropes in other
Sanji than this one.
fights. Yeah. I definitely think that knowing the other two big tech guys in the world, Judge and man, what's the big guy that they keep teasing?
Vegapunk.
Yeah, Vegapunk. We haven't seen anything about Vegapunk, so I can't speak to him too much, but I imagine because he's such a big character, like him and Judge just seem like they would wipe the floor with Queen, so Queen just seems like a wannabe, I guess, in this way. The only other tech guy he could beat would be Walpole.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if Vegapunk will be a fighter, but like,
I'm sure
uh,
he could probably build something. I'm sure he'll have a. I guess Frankie is the other tech guy, but Frankie is not gonna. Yeah, Frankie will be fighting Vegapunk if Vegapunk is ever a fighter. Definitely will not be
yeah,
Sanji.
yeah, I don't know. We'll see. A lot of
We
questions.
can kind of jump right into 1035 because that's actually the conclusion of the fight, though.
We kind of already
Um,
been. Oh, we got a cover arc.
Zoro versus King,
yeah,
Volume 1 of the new
let's
cover arc.
go. Escape Whole Cake Island. This is kind of speaking of Germa 666. Uh,
Uh-huh.
They've got interesting looking ships. I will say that. They look like Dendamushis.
Yeah, they do. They're
Yeah, they needed those to
snails.
like get over the red line.
Yeah, kind of a cool
They,
design, honestly.
yeah.
Very interesting.
Um,
Can't.
is like the mobile kingdom or whatever.
Yeah, the Mobile
Um,
Kingdom.
I mean, cool. I guess we're seeing drummer double six. I don't think that drummer double six were like that. I don't know. They didn't seem like that impressive or whatever as
Hmm.
fighters during Whole Cake, but
No.
I'm still, you know, hoping maybe that someone else who was on Whole Cake might show up in this arc. Katakuri, maybe. Mm.
They've got a
Okay.
kick-ass ship though.
I feel
Like
like,
just a castle floating on the snails.
yeah, I feel like, I don't know. I was honestly kind of impressed with how they fought in Whole Cake. They were beating the shit out of people in Whole Cake. The brothers and is it Reiju?
Yeah, but they kind of like got. I don't know. They there was like one point where they still kind of got beat by Big Mom's. Like they definitely got outmaneuvered by Big Mom's crew. Like
Yeah, I
they
think they were
kind
caught
of were dumb.
surprised, but once they got it down, they were kicking ass.
Yeah, they had a moment where they came in to help Sanji, but then I think that they only really were able to buy time. Like the reason they're escaping Whole Cake is because they kind of got fucked by Big Mom's crew eventually.
Hmm.
So, um, yeah, I mean, not yeah, like they're a cool concept. Like they're basically like Nazi Power Rangers or whatever. Like that's kind of nice. Um, yeah, I don't know. See where they go with this.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll continue that
Not really
cover.
much in this specific one, except just basically establishing that we're about Germa 66 and
Mm.
or double six, and they're escaping Whole Cake. So, yep,
Um,
see what happens there.
and yeah, so we continue the fight, and not for very long, but we get to see Queen back in his original form. And I remember reading this, and I was like, I mean, we kind of talked about it in the previous chapter. I was like, Damn, it's been a long time since I've seen Human Queen. I feel like he's been in
Yeah.
dinosaur form for so long. Um, and we get I don't know. I really like the Sanji moment that we get here with him having like the lady's got the mouse and get the flashback to him eating feeding the mice. It was relatively recent since I had read it, so that was pretty relatively, I don't know, within the last 6 months or whatever. Um, Reading his backstory, and I remember that moment in the mouse before it actually popped up, so that was cool. And then he gets his moment of humanity that reassures the reader that he has not lost his emotions by him saying, "Are you okay, miss?" Like type of deal. So it's a nice
Yeah.
little Sanji moment to end the fight. That
A nice closing, yeah.
yeah, it's very nice to close the fight and show the reader Sanji has not lost his marbles.
And also, if you notice, his eyebrow goes back.
Oh, I did not notice that
His,
actually.
his eyebrow goes back to the way we know it.
I did not notice that actually. That's
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't notice that either.
yeah. And also for anyone listening out there, while we're on the topic of Queen's original form, look up the French
yeah.
comic Astérix and Obélix, because Queen's design was a direct
That was the Viking guy you showed me, right?
yeah, he's a Viking guy in these original French comics, and it's like a spitting image.
And we do know that Oda loves Vikings, so
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Oda's definitely taken designs from places before, so I would not be surprised if that's where he got that. I don't know if somebody's probably gonna ask him about that in SBS eventually, but um, um, after so many people being influenced by One Piece designs, I can only imagine him being influenced by another design. It's not,
Yeah.
um, especially an obscure French comic. That seems like something Oda would read. Not
Especially for
obscure,
a fight
maybe.
against Sanji, who's got
The
all
French.
these French attack
Yeah,
names.
yeah, that would
Yeah.
make sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even know if it's an obscure comic. I don't want to offend any
It's
French
it's
people.
really not obscure at all. If you ask any French person, they will know Astérix.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that's like some trivia, I guess.
Some trivia for anyone who's interested.
And then yeah, we get the final panel, which is I didn't expect to see the Victor panel because that's something we sometimes get with fights. I guess we don't always get it. That's
Mhm.
another thing that kind of brought me back to Alabasta, which is like um, that was always like Victor character name.
Yeah.
I like that.
I like
Was
it a lot too.
it's
It's just
nice.
like
This
this is
fight's
done.
over. Done.
Yeah,
Out
this
of
is
it.
done. Yeah.
I need to see Victor Apoo pronto, please. Get him out of here.
Yeah. I need a Victor Fukuroju or whoever that earlobe
Oh
guy
yeah.
is.
Please.
Can't believe that fight's still going on.
Please, Oda, give me that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need that soon. um, yeah, I don't know if I can't remember the last time we saw it. I'm sure we've seen it more recently than I remember, but it's always nice to have that confirmation that we're moving on from it. Especially
Yeah.
when the title of the chapter is Zoro versus King. So you know we got to
Yes.
move on from this fight.
Move along.
Move along. So yeah, then we get into Zoro versus King.
It seems now he can just hurt King,
He
uh,
knows.
He
which is
figured it out.
yeah. When I first read this, I was like, what the fuck? Like, did I miss something? Like, like did I skip a chapter or something? But like, because it just seems like last time we saw this fight, like Zoro was so unable to like get any hits on him, like he was unable to like damage him or whatever. And I mean, he does explain like, oh, like I figured it out. Like I figured that when the flame is on his when the flame is out, he's faster, but he's not invincible anymore. Um, but we don't actually ever really see like Zoro like actually test that out. You know, like he
Uh-huh.
never actually we don't. It seems like we like at this point he's figured it out, and the last time we saw it, he hadn't yet figured it out. So like I would have liked to see maybe just like one more chapter of like a fight where it's like he's testing out different strategies on like how can I hit him, like when's the right time to hit him or whatever. We'd never see like the figuring it out. Like it's just now he's just already figured it out. Uh,
Yeah, I
like
go ahead.
yeah,
Sorry.
I was just gonna say, and that's like my favorite part of like the fights in One Piece is like when they kind of have to experiment and like try new things and like hone in on a strategy. Like it seems like we kind of just skipped that part of the fight, which is like what I like about fights in One Piece. So
Yeah, I was thinking about this fight would be the ideal moment to do it was when he got the first part of his mask knocked off. If we had a scene of Zoro going back to that part of the fight, thinking like what was different about Queen when I did damage him before, or damage his suit even. Like what changed between that and this moment? Like just like it literally could be like 3 panels, him just being like, why did I hurt him here, or even just damage his suit, and I can't do that again. And like some kind of logical bridge that he forms. It's like, oh, when his flame is on, he's faster, but he's vulnerable. I can figure this out now. And it's not like a huge thing, but I definitely agree. Like that's my favorite part, so I like to see more of it, type of deal.
yeah, honestly I kind of thought that this like cutting back here was kind of shit. Like I was pretty upset. Like it because at this point it kind of just feels like I mean, all of like the tension of the fight has kind of been sucked out because it's like, well, now he knows how to damage him. It's only a matter of time.
Yeah.
And I mean, it doesn't take very long after this. Like he basically just beats him. Um, so like at least from like a I don't know from like a tension standpoint, the fight's pretty much already over. So I don't know. Like to me, it kind of just feels like we skipped like the fight, or at least like the part where Zoro starts to turn the tides, and now the tides have just already turned, and it's like basically over.
Yeah.
Been
And
off screened, yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
And
it feels
and
like yeah,
it's been off screened, and like in my mind I can picture while Sanji was doing his fight, Zoro was out here testing everything out, and maybe they include that in the anime. That
yeah,
might
but like
be that might be something better suited for the anime. I don't know. I think in general Zoro fights Oda doesn't really uh convey too well, but
yeah, I don't think Oda's great at drawing sword fights in general, but
no.
I mean, some like I still think that like Zoro Mr. One is like one of the best fights in One Piece.
Yeah.
And it's just because there's such like a tactile or like you can like really feel what the goal is, you know.
mhm.
And it's like okay, I just need to like be able to cut steel, and so there's a solid sense of progression that comes with the fight, and I mean this doesn't really have that. That's fine, like it doesn't need to. Like not every fight in One Piece is about like I need to get this
It
power
was
up
it
to win the
was a
fight.
skip. It was a skip to avoid having to uh draw it out, I think.
Yeah, I think Oda
And
like probably was
I mean
concerned about
we
that.
all know Zoro was gonna get to this conclusion,
Hmm.
and I think Oda just chose to off screen it to kinda get it going.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
like annoying because I mean we've kind of like the last few chapters we've been talking about a lot of things that like could get cut that like aren't that, great, that don't really add
Yes.
that much as far as like the core appeal of
Yes.
One Piece. So I think that like
Yes.
in this case like Oda's kind of just got his priorities in the wrong spot with like this part of like the arc. Like because we've been waiting for these one-on-one fights for so long and like to kind of have like I would say like the most important one like it's literally like Zoro doing a samurai fight in Samurai Land, and like we
Yeah.
don't I feel like we're not getting the whole picture. It's just I yeah I was pretty disappointed with this. And like especially since King is like he is the first commander of like a Yonko crew. Like he is the Katakuri of like Kaido's crew. And like the fight against Katakuri was like so like it pushed Luffy to his absolute limits.
Yeah.
And so it's like there's basically like two ways you can kind of interpret this. It's like either like Katakuri is way stronger than King. Um and that's why like Zoro basically like low diffs him here. And that's like okay, that just makes like Kaido's crew seem way less powerful if like the first commander is like way weaker than the first commander of Big Mom's crew. Or like Zoro is just like that strong, but then that like makes Luffy in the last arc just seem really weak. So I feel like either way, it's like not great. Like what this like kind of like implies in like a um, I don't even want to like get into like power scaling, but like I feel like that does kind of like affect like how you view like the stakes or like how you view like the threat level of like the enemies.
Yeah.
Is like kind of like you do power scaling in your head. Uh, so
I
you
think
can't just ignore that.
I think you're definitely drawn to the second option there though, because if I mean, just mentally, if you're on an arc that's after another arc, you're going to be thinking that the enemies on the second arc are going to be stronger. So I think you're
Hmm.
definitely drawn to the second option of Zoro is just that much stronger, so Luffy was Luffy just a little bitch or whatever, and I mean, we'll time will tell how Luffy's fight goes and how we see him there, but that could correct that whole thing. But yeah, I definitely agree with that whole thing, and I think kind of going back to what we're talking about with Zoro's fighting style, with I don't know, like the gradual fight, like King was doing so well this whole fight, and like I guess it's kind of a precedent that's been set where Zoro can take a whole beating. You know, he's like
Yeah,
he was the one that tanked Kuma, so Zoro can take a beating.
And let's not forget he already fought Kaido once.
Yeah, and yeah, so he's been known to take a beating, but for me, it's just like not a very satisfying thing to see somebody getting beat the whole time, and then once they figure it out, they get the one hit in. I mean, it's not always one hit or whatever, but you know,
in this case, it basically is.
yeah,
Yeah,
and then they win the fight, and it's just like it's not rewarding. I guess it can be satisfying. I guess it's kind of been set up as Zoro's motif. That's how he fights, but I don't
yeah,
know. I much prefer the gradual fight or the way Luffy or you see Sanji or whatever. Most of the other fights, I guess.
Most of the other
It's
fights,
it's
yeah.
it's a give and take type of deal.
Oda struggles on these sword fights a lot.
Yeah,
You see the same thing with Brook's fights too.
yeah.
yeah. I mean, I feel like I care less about
Few and
Brooks
far
fights
between with the
because
Brooks
Brook is
fights. Yeah.
Brook, like I mean they're pretty few and far between, and then also like Brook was never really like hyped up as like a fighter guy, you know.
Yeah,
But like
yeah.
that's like kind of like Zoro's entire thing. So
hmm
um, and especially like I would like him to have a good fight in Samurai Land. And I'm pretty disappointed that we didn't really. I don't think we got that this arc. So
I wish
No, we did not.
I wish or King's whole I mean I'm not that I don't get me wrong, I love King's aesthetic. I think he's one of the cooler characters design wise in the entire arc, or one of my favorite design wise characters, just because I don't know, I'm kind of partial to pterodactyls, and he's just a very cool looking dude, especially with the mask off. But I feel like Samurai Land, you know, the samurai fight, I feel like him fighting somebody with more of a samurai aesthetic would be way cooler.
I agree. Yeah. I
But I
mean,
guess
That would have been.
Kaido's crew has never been leaning it. They never really leaned into the aesthetic of Wano. They leaned into Kaido's aesthetic. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
we'll
I mean,
see.
honestly, like maybe it just wasn't a good idea to have like. I mean, I know why he did it is because of like he wants to kind of wrap things up, but maybe it wasn't a good idea to have like the Kaido arc also be Wano. You know, like
Yeah,
they could have been separate arcs. They could have had like more like it would have allowed Wano to like be less like about like the politics of the Yonko cruise and stuff, and it could have like been more of like a like adventure arc where you kind of just explore this like new land, which is like an arc that like I we haven't had in so long. Like we really
we're not
haven't
gonna get
had one
another
of
one.
those arcs since like Thriller Bark basically.
We're not gonna get
Um
another one forever.
I'm really holding out hope for Elbaf. Like I want it to be like that, but like I do think that like
We're in the end game. I feel like it's
we're
not gonna
in
happen.
we're in politics piece now.
Yeah,
And that's like, maybe it was inevitable, just like given the way that the story was going, but like it is sad because that's like was like one of if not my favorite things about One Piece was just
yeah,
like the like exploration of like these new lands and stuff.
yeah. Well,
And it's
you're
kind
just
of
gonna have to
sad.
hold
I,
out
I
for.
think I think it I think it kind of goes with Luffy's story as well, though. He starts out as this seemingly just happy-go-lucky pirate who's just out there to have fun, and he's the reluctant hero. He kind of takes on the role of, you know, taking on Yonkos, and it gets more serious and more serious, and more lore is introduced, and more of the world government's introduced,
Stakes are
and
higher, and
the stakes are higher. It's not he's not out there just to have fun anymore. He's there to make a name for himself. He's there to be the Pirate King now.
yeah. I mean, he was always there to be the Pirate King. He was just, yeah. I can see what you're saying.
The stakes were lower, and it wasn't as serious. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it was probably inevitable, but I mean, it's just, I don't know. For me, it doesn't have the same appeal.
Yep.
I would agree. It's a lot more fun how just going to an island and fucking around.
Yeah, we're gonna have to hold out for the Boruto equivalent of One Piece.
For Two Piece.
Two Piece, yeah, with
Yeah.
Luffy's son. But yeah, back to the fight and kind of back to King. I love his design. As I said before, I think he looks so cool with the mask off. I think like that one panel of him on the entire left side of the page is so fucking sick, and he's got the Lunarian tattoo on his eye. Just a I mean, I can't gush enough about Oda's character design. I mean, we talked about Queen in the last chapter, and it's just so well done. Honestly, I feel like characters like I think Yamato's pretty well designed. I think Jack's Jack, you know. Kaido's pretty well designed. I love his hybrid and everything like that. You even see other people taking influence from like some of the designs. It's so well done, and King in this chapter is no slouch with his design, and kind of gets back into the panel with Zoro. He gets the exclamation mark as soon as King's mask is off, and somebody says black wings, white hair, and dark brown skin. You know Zoro's ears perking up at that moment.
Yeah.
He knows, oh, I can beat him now.
Yep.
Yeah, he just powered up.
He just got that's Zoro's power up for the arc.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely gave me a chuckle. As silly as that meme is, it never fails to hold up. Um, but yeah, character design wise, it's good, and the fight kind of moves on with some lore drop from King. But I do like his line about I don't know. I feel like the line about or the line from Zoro saying, "Want to tell me about your race?" I feel like what I don't know. Zoro doesn't seem like the character that kind of cares about that.
It's so weird.
Yeah,
Like,
Yeah.
he's like
That
here
was
for
a
the
bit
fight.
off.
He's here for the fight. He's here for a sword fight. Like they're making a big deal about it. Like, oh, you got a bounty on your 100 million berries for any information on this. I was like, why is Zoro does the last character I think be like, hey, you want to give me some background on your fucking race, bro?
yeah, he's like, hey, could I get the lore drop now?
Can I get the lore, please, on the Lunari? It was very strange to me. But King's response: "Why should I bother? You'll be dead soon." A prime response.
A prime response from someone who just got big slashed. Uh, and I'm sure now, like now that he like realizes that Zoro's a threat, he'll just always be invincible, right? Like
Why not
why
be
like
invincible?
that that's the question though. Is like if you have the ability to either be invincible or be fast, like why would you not just be invincible the whole time? Because I feel like that's the most important thing. Is like being fast only helps to avoid damage and like get damage in quick, but if you're invincible, you don't need to worry about avoiding damage. Like he could just draw this fight out as long as he wants because he's invincible.
Yeah.
So
Um.
I feel like that was like kind of like they should have given a reason why, like, okay, maybe he can't do this all the time, but there wasn't anything like that. It was like, no, he's just choosing to like turn on his vulnerability to attacks.
Yeah.
Super weird.
I think this chapter probably cemented King as my favorite character in this arc. I mean, we still haven't gotten Kaido's backstory, which might change some things, but Him saying like, oh, I mean, just kind of his demeanor the whole arc up until now, he's been the stoic type, the Zoro to Kaido's Luffy type of deal. Um, and he's got the backstory with his race and everything, but like I don't know, we get a bit with Zoro, and this kind of goes back to what I was saying with earlier with Zoro saying his race being special doesn't change anything for me. Like, yeah, we already know that. Like, why did you mention it before?
Yeah.
But then we
I
get
guess he's not a minority hunter,
yeah.
Zoro. Then he's proving it there.
Um, but then we get Kaido is saying like I don't know, the line that stuck out to me was Kaido saying that or sorry, King saying that Kaido-san is gonna be the next Pirate King. Like that is a line you hear from Luffy's crew, and hearing it from King about Kaido was like that was like a slap in the face to me. I was like that was like not in a bad way. It was like wow, Kaido is the parallels between Kaido and Luffy were just like immediately drawn in my head, and like the crew parallels were immediately drawn in my head. Like I said, he's the Zoro to Kaido's Luffy type of deal. Um, it's just so weird hearing that from you don't hear other characters like nobody in Big Mom's crew said you don't hear Katakuri saying oh Big Mom's gonna be the next Pirate King type of deal. I don't think we've heard anything like Blackbeard's never said that I don't think or anyone on his crew has said that, but it's just so weird hearing that from a villain crew, and that was like it made me believe well that and as well as the flashback afterward made me believe in like King as a character and Kaido as a character. It it helped me kind of relate to their cause because like that's something we've been hearing for so long from Luffy's crew and like everybody involved and Luffy himself and like just the parallels drawn just it drew me more to Kaido's crew than I would have guessed from just a single chapter type of deal.
Yeah, I mean, I guess now we're kind of dealing with like crews that are actively trying to get become Pirate King.
Yeah, but I feel like Big
So
Mom's crew should be part of that, right? Any of the Yonko crews.
I feel
that's
like
true.
Big
Yeah.
Mom's crew isn't too into that, to be honest. But yeah, I mean we've heard Kaido drop Joy Boy and all the lore on that, and so we know this is someone who was set on being Pirate King.
Yeah. I I've seen like the theories on Kaido being like the failed Joy Boy, like the failed Luffy type of deal. Like he was Luffy before Luffy was Luffy.
Hmm.
And he failed at that and that's why he's depressed and that's why he's trying to kill himself and honestly this whole deal has just cemented that whole thing like the flashback especially like seeing how happy Kaido is, seeing how much more it just seems like more wholesome like how we see Luffy these days and like it's very relatable. I'm the only one who can be the Pirate King, or I'm the only one who can change the world type of deal. You're the right hand man. He says to King, "You're my right hand man." Like just like Luffy saying to Zoro, "You're on my crew now. You can't change that." Like it's so relatable and like it endears me to Kaido's crew so much more and Kaido himself. It's just like cuz then you imagine in your head like what if Luffy? What if this was Luffy? Like what if Luffy down the road didn't become the Pirate King? What would he do? What would his path be? And yeah, it's like the dark side of that whole thing. It's very cool to see and pretty sad, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for Kaido's flashback. I think that'll be good.
I think it'll be really tragic.
I hope it's good because I
Yeah,
like and it provides an explanation for like why like why he wants to kill himself or whatever um and like why he's an alcoholic. So
yeah,
Kind
yeah, I
of
mean
agree.
yeah, I don't know.
I
Go on.
I agree with the idea of uh, Kaido was thought to be the Joy Boy, and he came to terms that it wasn't his time, and that's how he copes. Is like he could have been the real deal. He was just born at the wrong time.
yeah. I think, I mean, we've kind of talked about this previously when they first introduced like Joy Boy, and I'm not a huge fan of the whole prophecy thing, like chosen one type of deal. But if there have been other people that have come about and thought they were the prophecy, or I mean, even if they didn't know about the prophecy, or they thought they were the next Joy Boy, or they were on track to be the next Joy Boy, or something like that, and they failed, that would make me feel a little bit better about Luffy if these people were thought to be that thing and they weren't. I'm still not comfortable with Luffy if it was like something that they had to do and they failed and then they weren't Joy Boy or they weren't I don't know what the term would be for that whole thing. And Luffy comes to that same obstacle and he succeeds and it's not like a matter of destiny like it wasn't going to be Luffy all the time like these people had the equal chance to succeed they just failed. That would make me feel better about it, but I don't
Yeah,
think it's
I would like it if it was
if it was
like the
something
chosen undead in Dark Souls, where
yes.
it's like
It could be any of
everyone
them.
kind of has the pro like can do it. It's just that like the prophecy is that someone will do it, and
Yes. I would
whoever ends up
love
doing it,
this.
and yeah. But okay, the thing that like
That would be
makes it so
awesome.
that yeah, that would be sick. But the thing that makes me worried about that is the fact that like that Roger came to the conclusion that he was too early. Like that kind of implies that there actually is something
Yeah.
that like
Then
Time
yeah.
frame, yeah.
yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's like something that like time sensitive that was like set up from the Void Century or something. Like I could see it like being something like that. Um, but then it would be kind of like convenient that like the right one, Luffy, comes around at like exactly the right time. Um, so yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. If
I'm
yeah,
like
if it
I'm not in love with it, but there are ways that it could be
there
fun. I
are
think.
ways that it would
At
work
least
and
that.
that would be a way I would be very very happy with it, but like I didn't even draw that parallel with the Chosen Undead or the Ashen one. Yeah, that'd be awesome. Um but yeah, this flashback as short as it was one of my favorites that we've seen in a while. Much better than like the what we get Yamato and Zoro and those are pretty short too, but this one was my favorite so far. This is
Yeah, I think this was like the best part of the chapter. Way better
as
than the actual fight.
yeah,
But yeah,
as much as I've been ragging on the fight, this flashback was primo.
Don't overlook the King of the Hill three sword style.
The fucking the old geezer.
yeah, I wish that we got like a little flashback like this for Queen too, because I would love to see little baby or not baby, but like younger Queen. You know, like what was he
Yeah,
like?
I feel like Queen feels two-dimensional after seeing a King flashback, but no Queen flashback.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even care that he's two dimensional. Like he's just so fun to watch whenever
Oh
he's
yeah,
on the page.
yeah. I
Like
feel like having yeah
I
maybe
still like Queen way better than King, to be honest, because I think he's like yeah, like
I
kind of
think if we got a Queen flashback that was like as touching as the King flashback was, that would not work. I feel like if we got a Queen flashback was, and it was like baby Queen, but he was still the exact same Queen, that would be fucking hilarious. But
yeah,
we
yeah.
didn't, so
I like that would be awesome.
that would be
Or
so
like maybe
funny.
something that like gave us a little bit of like maybe like the point of it would be because I mean it would be kind of weird if he had like a flashback just to be like yes, Queen was always based. But like if it was like something where we got a little like hint or like something that we could speculate on Vegapunk because like we know that they work together
Yes,
in the
that'd be cool.
like something like that would have been cool and then be like also Queen's personality just like was always like this he's just like a weirdo like that'd be awesome
Yeah,
but I think that we're obviously not getting that now because
yeah.
Queen's gone so,
Queen is done, so he's out of there.
yeah
Yeah, the fight continues. We get some Oda sword fights. I don't know. I can't really say
Like
too
how
much about these.
King's sword is like perforated. That was kind of cool.
Yeah, it's like what's the guy in Demon Slayer's sword kind of Inosuke kind of.
or does he have like the sword breakers or whatever I forget
Yeah, it's like you said, it's perforated type of deal.
yeah it looks like in that panel like is it like that the fire that he's controlling the fire to like melt away part of the sword to
That
like
kind of
create
he
those.
can control it. Looks like, yeah.
Yeah, but like, how would he get them back though? Because like he had those before, and then he like got the sword back, and then now he's getting them again. So like, how does I don't know. How does he get them back? Like,
Not
because it's not
sure.
permanent.
Yeah, not sure.
I mean, it is a cool effect, but it seems like a permanent one, which would
Yeah.
be would I don't know.
That kind of defeats the
Weird.
whole purpose of a sword if you have every inch of the sword being not a sword.
Yeah.
Comes in
mean-
handy when you're at like a stalemate like that, where you both have your blades against each other.
Yeah,
oh yeah,
'cause
it's
then you could
super
just-
handy, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty sick. I mean, I
Um,
think it's cool, but yeah, he doesn't really actually use it.
Cool
for anything.
touch, but he's not able to actually
Yeah.
take away any of the named blades.
Yeah, don't take away his
Because
name,
like I
blades, dude. Come
said,
on,
it's
what are you
basically
doing?
like we're in the part of the fight where Zoro's basically won. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
Kind of going back to the previous part of the fight before the flashback, but him saying out loud, "I don't have much time. If we keep dragging this out, this sword will kill me." Him saying that out loud was just like, why would you say that?
Yeah. Why would you say that? And then why would King continue to use the speed mode, which we've already established is the worst mode, but now it's like also even worse given the
Yeah.
situation.
He's literally
It
just
really
like,
makes King look like a grade A dumbass
yeah,
for
he
like
sped up. That
fighting
means I
like
can
this.
cut him. Yeah, okay, just don't
The
speed up, dude.
manga, dude.
What are you doing? What are you doing, dude?
That doesn't need to be good.
Yeah.
Zoro
The,
needs
It
to
doesn't
chill.
need logic.
Yeah. It just doesn't. God, so
If you can
Oda,
if you
do
can stay
better. You've done
if you can
better before. I know you can do better, Oda.
if you can stay in the slow mode and keep getting hits on him and he can't hurt you, then stay in the slow mode, dude. What are you doing?
Yeah. Also, this is like another thing I think that is working to make King less intimidating because the whole fight where he's like this is a fight against the first commander of a Yonko crew, and Zoro is like more worried about like his sword than like the actual opponent in front of him.
Yeah.
Like he's more fighting the sword than because it's like once he figures out how to like conquer the sword, that's like basically where the tide of the fight turns because that happened the chapter before this one, and then this chapter opens up with him having gained the upper hand in the fight. So it's just like I don't know. It makes King less impressive because it's like he's Zoro's fighting two battles at once and he still beats King.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, drawing parallels. That was our critique of the Sanji fight as well. Was
Yeah,
that
yeah, I 100% agree.
was that it wasn't so much that Queen is overpowering him so much as Sanji's fighting his own battles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's definitely an issue that I would have.
Yeah, and like I think, I've said before that like the Beast Pirates don't really seem that intimidating, especially coming off of like Whole Cake, Big Mom crew, still the best crew. Definitely seems way tougher and like stronger than these guys. And I mean, part of
Yeah.
that is I think because like the goal was never to beat Big Mom, so
Mhm.
like they didn't have these fights that like the Straw Hats had
except
to
for a
win.
brief moment.
Yeah, that's true. There
Maybe
was
one or
like
two
some
fights, yeah.
there
Well,
were some
there was a brief
clashes,
moment
and
where they
then
tried to kill her, and then they're like, "Oh, that's not working."
yeah, and then but that's what made it so like so intimidating was that like even this like perfectly constructed plan like didn't work, and then now like their only option is to like just get the fuck out of there. Like they had to escape,
Right.
because they were that scary. But the Beast Pirates are not really on that level, at least like from what we've seen. Like they just they're not that scary.
Wait, Kyle, when did you catch up in One Piece? When did you first start reading week to week? What arc? Was it Whole Cake?
Uh, yeah, it was Whole
Okay.
Cake.
I don't know. I'm curious because like I think because this is the first major arc that I've been in a part of reading week to week. So this seems like for me it's having more of an impact reading week to week. So yeah, you having both the Whole Cake as well as this to compare to because like I did the equivalent of binge watching Whole Cake, binge
Mm-hmm.
read Whole Cake. So I don't know if it had as big of an impact on me. I didn't get um, the same feeling for the crew as you did, I think. Because for me at least, this is my favorite crew, but it's also I feel like I just have so much longer with them because I am reading week to week. So
Yeah, it's definitely a
interesting to
very
see.
different experience.
Yeah,
And when Wano's done, I do want to like go back and read the whole thing because like I mean
I might do
I
that
think
too. Yeah.
my biggest problems with Wano have mostly been like pacing related. And then I kind of said that like, oh, it seems like that they're Luffy is getting way too strong, like too quickly. But I guess I mean that's also I guess kind of a pacing concern. And I don't know. I think that pacing when you're waiting a week or two between chapters is a very different thing than pacing when you're reading the entire arc at once, because one chapter that's like kind of just like maybe more of a setup chapter, when that's like all you get for like a week or
Yeah,
two, then that can be really frustrating. But when you're reading it all at once, that's like you don't even think about it because you're just already reading the next chapter,
yeah.
and all of the stuff that got set up is like maybe now starting to pay off. So
And even
uh
just like that brief frustration, like you're basically frustrated for an entire week, and that is what sticks out to you when you try to remember an arc or even like
yeah.
a fight. Like if you get a fight chapter that's not as great, but the rest of the fight is good, and the fight overall is good, like that one week that you spent frustrated over a fight is gonna stick out to you in your memory. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's interesting. I think I might reread Wano as well when it's done, all said and done, which maybe in the next year. You never know. I think
Maybe.
he
Yeah.
commented on the whole situation maybe in an SBS recently. I can't remember. We're definitely getting there though. I could see it being done by the end of the year.
Yeah, I think by the end of the year is like
That's
maybe gonna happen.
what, another 35, 40 chapters probably.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, because they might take a while to do all the lore stuff at the end of the arc, which is like what I'm
We
really
are doing
excited
some
for.
more of that recently with the ships, so we'll see.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so he stupidly goes out of slow mode and goes into speed mode, gets caught, and says he's caught onto his powers, and then Zoro turns the reverse card on him and says, "Your kind is too," or King says, "Your kind is too inferior for you to have a prayer against me," which is actually how Zoro's thinking because Zoro is a white supremacist.
Yeah.
um, I do like the cool demeanor that King has throughout the fight. Him saying, "I'll remember he's a decent swordsman," is just like, he just got hit pretty badly. Like him just being keeping it cool is kind of cool, I guess. But I don't know, his move at the end and then Zoro's move to counter it. It's just kind of flailing swords and making things appear. I can't. It's not a sword fight at that point. I guess it kind of is. He cuts through the dragon, and it's not a sword fight though. He's got a
Yeah.
dragon, shoots a dragon, cuts through the dragon, kills him.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's
I
Hits him
mean,
with
it
the
is kind
King
of cool
of
that
the
he's
Hill Three
using
Dragon
yeah,
style.
King of the Hill, Imperial Fire. Yeah, it's a bit
it's
too.
nice
Yeah,
that like he's using Kinemon's ability, I guess. Probably for it was probably given to him for this. Uh but like yeah, I agree like this is pretty like I don't know, just
flashy.
like also like why is he not like he's far away, like he's shooting this dragon like at Zoro, so why is he not in invincible mode? Like he's not like blitzing Zoro, he's just like using a ranged attack.
Yeah.
Like really just like doesn't make a lot of sense. I feel like Oda just maybe Oda like had this idea for the fight, but then he was like, oh, I don't really have time to flesh it out because like I think it's pretty clear that Oda is like worried about time at this point. um and so yeah, maybe like he just didn't have time to flesh it out, or he thought that he didn't have enough time. But I don't think that that's a good excuse because yeah, there's other things you can cut as we've talked about before.
Mm,
So
yeah. Also, I don't know. I feel like a lot of, I mean, this one maybe not in particular, but I feel like a lot of Zoro's. I like we were talking about earlier with Sanji's fight, his move names, where it's kind of like a combo of French terms, and usually, personally, I will recognize them, but Zoro's moves, I feel like they're usually just like a jumble of words, and just like, okay, that's a move. Maybe I'm just like not paying attention enough, or they're not as thing, but they don't stick out to me as much. Besides like the most common ones, but yeah, I don't know. It never quite has the impact on me as other fights. When you hear, I mean, I guess Robin especially has some. She's got the Spanish twang to her moves. I feel like maybe because I'm more familiar with Spanish than I am with Japanese or French, maybe those stick out to me and I'm able to recognize those a bit more. But like, I don't know. The other fights just seem to have more of a flow to them than these ones. This one, I guess maybe that's intentional, but
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I like the push and pull, like I said, and I feel like we kind of skipped that part of the fight, which
yeah,
yeah, I was really disappointed with.
yep,
So bad.
yep.
I don't
So
know. I don't know if he was kind of holding back on, do I make Zoro like almost die again, even though he almost died from Kaido's attack and got revived? If that was like too much,
I feel
because
like he
this
definitely
is
could have
Zoro's second fight technically
he could have been
in
overcompensating
Wano.
for that. Like he was like, I don't
Yeah,
want to do that
but I mean,
again.
it's like his only one-on-one fight, so it's like
Is
that's like
one-on-one
the one that
fight,
matters
yeah.
the most.
He should have
Like,
saved
I
that for the
agree.
one-on-one fight as opposed to the Kaido fight. Like I honestly, if he had done something to escape the Kaido fight just to get to his one-on-one fight, like I would not have cared. I don't think.
I think I would have preferred that over him getting beat up so hard from Kaido that he needed to get revived. He was in the cross, which was awesome.
Yeah,
yeah, I did like Sanji using Zoro as a weapon. Like
yeah,
that
that
was
was
sick.
funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like I don't know if that was worth like robbing this fight of a lot of like punch. I feel
Yeah,
like because of the fact that he was already recovering or whatever from another fight,
And
it just
I'm wondering what the repercussions of that revival thing is gonna be, because I remember them saying like, "Oh, it's gonna be double the pain" or whatever.
hmm.
yeah, I don't know. I feel like there might just like it might just be like Luffy like taking years off his lifespan for the gears. Like that doesn't actually. At least I don't have any
It
expectation of that's
literally
actually.
means nothing. I hate that shit in anime.
Yeah,
Taking years off your lifespan means fucking nothing in any
yeah. It's like
anime.
it's not like
It's
the
it's the
series is
Sensubin.
same.
going to
It's the
go
same
until
as when
Luffy dies of
Kurapika,
old age.
yeah, when Kurapika uses Emperor Time and he takes years off his lifespan for every second that he's using it, he's taking 2 months off his lifespan. I'm like, I don't give a shit. I'm not gonna see Kurapika die of old age. I'm not gonna see Luffy
Yeah,
die of old age.
Yeah.
We've talked about this before. I fucking hate it. It's so dumb. It's a stupid thing in anime that sounds intimidating, but once you think about it, it's just like this is the stupidest shit of all time. Nobody gives a shit.
He ate
We're
the
not seeing them
sensu
die of
bean.
old age. Yeah,
Yeah.
it sounds much more scary than it is.
Yeah.
Um, sorry. We should jump into 1036 though, because that's the end of the fight, and we'll conclude the fight there. Um, he does the move and get a bit more of a flashback, which I like. You know, it's kind of pretty similar to the previous flashback. It doesn't really show us anything besides the stuff that we've seen before with him having the direct correlation with the King of the Pirates comparison. We get kind of a mixed flashback with Zoro and Luffy, and then Kaido and um, King. So that's kind of going off the thing before. I guess we get a bit more correlation with the Joy Boy um, prophecy, but I think I don't know if they've explained enough about Joy Boy for me to super care about it. I guess they've explained enough that I know like Joy Boy is a thing and something we're paying attention to, but they haven't really explicitly said the entire thing. So keep an eye on it. But
Zoro says he's gonna become the king of the hill.
mm-hmm.
yeah.
I think the difference between this and with Zoro is that Zoro's flashbacks were showing him saying, "I want to be the greatest swordsman of all time," and Luffy saying, "The Pirate King would settle for no less," or "I want to be the crew of the Pirate King." And this is kind of more. King seems more reluctant here. I mean, he does say like, "You're not going to lose until you're king," but he's never saying something like, "I'm going to be the greatest swordsman," you know.
Yeah, his ambition is not as great as
Yeah,
Zoro's.
he's much more in a supportive mindset towards Kaido. He doesn't have a seeming goal of his own, I guess. He's kind of there
Yeah,
to support Kaido as opposed to supporting Kaido, but also wanting to be something himself. So that's the main difference draw. But um, panel wise, King of the Hill panel is very fucking cool. That is a maybe my favorite Zoro panel of all time. That's a fucking crazy cool panel. Him, I mean, that's like if it was fully extended wallpaper material, like that's so fucking cool. Him, I don't know if you
This
want.
whole stuff is confirming my whole idea of the Straw Hats becoming like this devil crew.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely how they'll be portrayed. I could definitely see that being a thing where they're like, they all have devil powers, but they're good people, you know? Um, I'm trying to think of on the crew right now. Okay, we've got Zoro's got the devil powers.
He's got the devil powers, and he's saying, "I'm the king of hell."
Yeah, and then we've got Robin, who's got kind of a devil power with her thing that she's shown recently. Luffy's got fire powers, which I've seen some theories about. Sanji's got
He's got
fire
fire
powers.
power, but and he's got D, which I'm almost certain is
The
like
devil.
devil.
Demon.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and then Sanji's got fire powers. I could definitely see that being a theme. I guess you could say Brook is, he's the skeleton. That's death type of deal.
yeah.
I don't know how you're gonna draw Chopper into this, but Chopper's always been forgot about.
I don't know. There
Oh,
just
I guess
seems
his Eldritch Horror kind of vibe to his super form is that's kind of
yeah.
demonic in a way. I could that would be pretty fucking cool if that was like a whole vibe to the crew, but because it's like the exact opposite of what the crew stands for. They're the good, quote unquote good
Yes.
guys.
They're the good guys in our eyes, but they're the devils as far as it comes to
The world government's concerned.
yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. That'd be really cool. I think in my head as it is right now, but we'll see how it goes.
There's just some themes being thrown down that are hard to ignore.
Yeah. We get the Victor Zoro panel with King getting his wing chopped off, which is honestly a pretty big loss for King. So I can't really see him being a recurring character at this point. They never kill anybody in One Piece, but
Hey, there is actually a way that this fight could actually end up being good, and
mm,
that's if uh Zone Awakening comes into play because they I know I'm a hater of Awakening in general, but if they could just if literally all of the like Beast Pirates just like get back up because they did like Zoans were the first
do you
fruits
want
to like
this arc to go on for another 100 chapters?
okay, I mean like I know it won't happen, but I want a good Zoro fight, damn it. Like he needs this fight to be good. Um and like it would definitely also fix my problem of like Kaido's crew like not seeming that intimidating. Like if they're all just like, yeah, like you guys just all spent like a lot of energy fighting us and like beating us down, but like we're just gonna get back up. Um like I don't think it's actually gonna happen. Like that's just my final
No,
cope.
that
But like
that's
it
some
could
peak
happen.
hope. I think that would be if it wasn't the full Toby Europa, if it was just I don't even know if I want to include Jack on this, but Queen King and Queen King and Kaido would be cool, but I feel like Kaido's probably in a position where he's already awakened. Queen and King would be cool. Queen especially would be interesting to see how that would turn out. Like you said, it's probably not going to happen. Probably some peak cope,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, it's peak cope.
I'll
'Cause,
join you
I
on
mean,
I'll join you on huffing the
yeah.
copium.
It definitely seems like, they like the fights had like beats. Like they had like a story beats and stuff. And like it feels like they've hit all like the beats of a normal fight. It's just that I didn't like the way that they did it. So
Yeah,
I don't actually think that the fights are
I
like
think
gonna continue.
I think it would also like be very hard to do a satisfactory ending if they all got up and were fine, and then our heroes who just spent so long beating them down and are so beat up at this point ended up winning anyway. Like that would be
Yeah, but I mean
hard to do
honestly,
well,
I
I
don't
guess.
really think that like it doesn't really seem that Zoro like expended that much energy in this fight. Uh it I don't really feel that like Sanji was pushed to his limits either. So
Well, Sanji for
I don't
sure,
think
yeah.
it'd be, yeah, I don't
Zoro
think
for
it'd be
me,
that
yeah.
unsatisfying.
Okay, yeah, I
I
can see
mean,
that.
yeah, I don't know. I would like I would be happy, but then at the same time, it'd be like, damn it, Oda, like why'd you waste so much time on other shit? Because now this is gonna take forever. Um, but yeah, I don't think that's actually gonna happen. But
Hmm.
it's like my final coat.
Um, yeah, and then we get. I guess we go back and let's talk about the cover chapter real quick because I think we skipped that. Did we skip that? Did we have one this week?
Oh yeah, it's like a color spread.
Oh,
Uh,
color spread. Yeah, it's cute.
it's looking good.
I'm sure the color spread will be the video picture. So
Oh, I like Nami's like she's got pigtails or something. That's cute.
yeah, I like the winter theme because that's the time of year it is right now.
Yeah.
I like Brooks. Honestly, I like yeah Brooks red jacket. This is high tide.
Yeah.
Honestly, the random text on most things. I guess a lot of these are pretty a water themed. Now that I'm thinking about it. Made Riptide, is that what Zoro's thing? Made
Maybe.
ripples. Every
Every
drop in the
drop
ocean
in the ocean
counts.
counts.
High tide. Yeah, I guess they all have kind of a theme. Usually it's just random text, which I'm kind of always on board for random English text. But these have a theme. It seems like at least deep blue.
And then they all have their numbers,
Yeah,
like
I
in
like
what
that a
order they
lot.
join
Yeah,
through.
Chopper is doesn't get anything.
Chopper is doctoring.
God, I'm getting more and more depressed for Chopper. Jeez.
It's over for Chopper. If
He's
he didn't get
doctoring.
Arc, then what is he gonna get? You know,
Covert.
like
Chopper's gonna betray them and get the One Piece himself
yeah.
Like
after so
that.
many years of neglect.
I would really like that.
Chopper's the final boss.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that's the color spread. Going back to that, but
Tiger a placeholder for Yamato since she's the white tiger?
Oh no.
uh-oh.
Oh no.
But yeah, after the fight, we get into some CP0 briefly, very briefly, I think. I think it's just pretty
They're
briefly
just
though.
like, wow, they were beat.
They were beat. Those guys were strong. I promise. Um, and a bit more of a scene setting kind of stuff we already knew, I think,
Yeah.
with the flower capital crashing and I don't know. Every 10 chapters we get a Momo frame, or maybe 5 chapters we get a Momo frame. I will stop this. One of these days. One of
One
these
of these
days.
days, I'm gonna stop this island.
Guys, I'm grabbing the clouds. I swear.
Yeah.
Hey, I believe him. I think he might stop.
Hey, I believe in Momo. And we get some more
Maybe someone
fire.
will help him, but I think he'll stop it.
Get some diagrams. I do like the diagrams that we've gotten of the fire going around the castle. It's kind of helped me picturize things because it's hard for me in my head to picturize you know, a fireball going through. I don't know. Maybe I just don't have a good idea
Maps
for.
are always helpful.
Yeah, the floors are a bit confusing for me. So the
Yeah.
fire.
I like how
Sure.
it's just referred to as burning hatred.
Yeah, I don't. That seems like a move name, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of is a move. Like
Yeah.
this was like Kanjuro's final
It,
move. So.
that could be a translating error. We're not looking at the official translation here.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I never read the official translation because usually it's lame.
Yeah,
And
honestly, it's been like lame every time I've gone back and forth between the two. So
yeah, like usually like their like insults to each other have a little bit more bite in the
yeah, it's usually a bit more
non-official.
colloquial.
Yeah,
Shout out to Sketch and CDR, the translators.
nice.
um, and then we go back to the
Yamato.
Yamato and that whole vibe. The numbers. We get a nice Enel face, kind of. It's kind of a
Yeah,
half
kinda.
Enel face. Um,
Why is this guy helping Yamato again?
I don't
I don't really
remember
understand.
honestly.
Like, yeah, I mean, like she kind of just like in the Drake chapter, she was like, "Yo, help me," and then he's like, "Okay," but like, why would he do that? Like, I don't know. Maybe the implication is that they're just too dumb to not do whatever anyone tells them. I don't know. But like, yeah.
Yeah.
Now they're fighting. Now the numbers are fighting.
Now they're doing stuff. Finally, it's been.
But it's like if all the numbers are on Yamato's side, why wouldn't you just say, hey, Roka or Roki, get out of the way? Like,
Yeah.
why did you have to do this whole thing? I don't know.
It's it's definitely a mixture. I mean, I guess you can just draw it back with like she grew up in this castle, so they all know her and
Yeah.
they're friends with her. So
But then why wouldn't he just get out of the way? I don't know.
I'm not sure, but I'm also
Oh,
not
maybe.
not fretting
Yeah.
about it too much.
Yeah, I don't really care about the numbers. I mean, I wish I did because they were supposed to be cool, but then they weren't. So,
Yeah, I feel like they should have moved up the power scale, the mental power scale of most of the crew.
yeah.
They could have kept the grunts where they are. Obviously, they didn't really do too much, but moving up the Toby Ropo a little bit would have been cool, as well as the number. Let's see, it goes. Yeah, sorry, moving up the numbers a bit definitely would have been cool because they've done absolutely nothing so far. And then moving up the Toby Ropo a bit would have been cool. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's it's kind of just a whole thing. I think
See
it's
Usopp go on and on about why he's happy being a coward.
yeah. I I honestly don't think I like this from Usopp. It's kind of
Well, I mean, he does.
it's
He
kind of
does
peak
like it.
Usopp type of deal.
I do
He's
like how
happy
he's like.
being a coward.
Yeah, I like how at first he's like, oh, they're like, just leave, just like don't, just leave us, like you can save yourself.
Hmm.
And then he's like, sounds good, I'll leave you both and escape. Like that's pretty funny. But then Usopp like is actually a good person. He's like, wait, no,
Yeah.
that's not right. Like, so oh, and then yeah, he's like, I know it's your culture, but I just can't stand it. Um, so he's
He gets some good lines in here. That
yeah.
whole sounds good line that you mentioned, and then also the I don't know who the fuck you are, but thanks for saving me.
Then Izo has to come in and save Usopp's ass.
Izo looks badass as fuck when she does that, or he does that.
So it's okay for Usopp to be a weasel, but Apoo not so much.
Usopp's not a weasel though. He's not selling out his crew ever.
I suppose.
He never switches sides, and he never thinks about switching sides. He's just like I don't know if there's an archetype for it. It's like a coward's a bit strong of a word because he will fight if he needs to.
Yeah, he's a coward.
He's the closest thing you can get to a coward, but he's more. I would say comic relief is most of the time with the category he falls into. But he can take up the role that he needs to play in most scenarios, if he
Yeah,
does
I mean
need to
he's like
play
a
it.
coward by nature, but he can rise above that
He's
when he needs to,
the
and that's what makes it even more heroic.
he's the I mean he's named after Aesop's fable, the one, um, the it's not the boy who cried wolf. Yeah, it is the boy who cried wolf. Yeah, it's he's named after that, and he that's where he gets his personality from. He's making up stories about himself. He's the coolest, greatest pirate of all time, and he's not actually that character. He's actually a coward. But if he needs to take I guess that's where his character development comes in. Because if he needs to take that role, he'll do it for his captain because he believes in his captain.
But I like
Yeah.
Usopp. I'm just playing the devil's advocate.
Not trying to get into a deep Usopp discussion on an arc that features mostly not Usopp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next arc with Elbaf.
Next
Yeah.
arc for Elbap, we're getting into a 3 hour long Usopp discussion on the motivation and personality of Usopp. um, let's see. Yeah, so we get Izo saving him. Get some get some good lines between them, and
I like how Izo has heard of Usopp.
yeah, the god, not just Usopp, God Usopp.
Yeah.
That's high
Also,
praise.
Izo's looking really good in that panel where he like takes off his shirt and he's got the
It's so
Kozuki.
God, reading this is so weird to me because it's just like their faces are so feminine, but then they like take it off and it's just like, big brother, and then he's just like holding his brother, and it's just like his feminine face, and it's just like so strange to like read that, and
Yeah.
it's so funny. I love it so much.
Yeah, it was sort of I don't know. Izo's kind of weird though, because like
They're
he like he kind of just like fucked off and went with Whitebeard, even though like his country was kind of like not in a good spot.
Wait, was
So
Izo
I
the one
don't.
that had the samurai armor earlier in the arc?
No, that was Kiku.
Oh, that was Kiku. Okay.
Kiku stayed, but Izo left. Izo was just like,
Kiku is
yeah,
based.
not really my problem. So
Yeah,
but I don't know. His guns are cool.
yeah. Not as cool as Kiku's armor. Kiku was so
Yeah,
cool when they showed up and beat the fuck out of the paintbrush guy.
I wish we got to actually see that fight though. It was off screen.
Hey, Oda doesn't like drawing sword fights, dude. Come on.
Yeah, but that would have been a painting fight. That would have been awesome. I wish we could have seen the painting fight.
True, 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 true. But instead we get an earlobe fight, which I don't really care
Oh
about.
yeah,
I'm gonna
we
be
all care
honest.
about
I
this.
don't give a shit about the earlobe fight at all. This
Yeah,
fight needed to be gone. We needed a victor on this fight 10 chapters ago, 20 chapters ago.
yeah.
Holy shit, this fight is
I like how even Oda's like kind of making a joke out of this at this
true.
point.
Yeah, yeah.
He's like,
He's like, holy shit,
they're
I didn't
they're
wrap
they're
this fight
both
up.
standing there shooting fire or whatever, and nothing's happening.
Yeah, he like just realized, oh god, I gotta wrap this fight up.
Yeah.
And then we get some more of Orochi, literally like 2 panels, 3 panels, and
Yeah,
and then your boy Apoo comes in hot, big hot.
I like Spur with the mustache. I
With
like
who
his
with the
mustache.
mustache?
The number with the mustache.
Oh yeah, yeah. This chapter kind of jumps around, you know. It's kind of
Yeah,
tying.
it's
It serves the purpose to tie up
what everyone is
things.
up to.
Yeah. Mhm.
So
And
Drake gets blown the fuck out. Like, geez,
yeah,
he got off screened pretty hard.
off screen the fuck. And
Damn, you suck,
if
dude.
only we could see that.
What a
I
jobber.
would much rather see Drake getting actually beaten than Apoo getting fake beaten.
That's true. Yeah,
Also, Sanji's
they
taking a
just said he
snooze.
was quite a handful, so it was actually a fight. Like, it wasn't just like a one shot.
Yeah, they're
Oh,
not saying he's a pushover. He's actually a
but I
real
mean, you kind of
contender.
looking pretty like Drake coin is falling right now. It's free fall.
Allosaurus
Eh.
coin is down.
Yeah,
And then we get Sanji's taking a snooze. Seems like the chick with the mouse was helping him out because she seemed pretty okay with him. It was weird because she seemed like weirdly okay with him after also seeming like she liked Queen in a way. So I don't
Likes
know.
yeah. I don't know.
everyone,
I
and
don't know
that's
who.
her job.
Yeah, I'm not really sure who else would be
That
caring
is
for her.
true. That is your job. Yeah,
Um,
she's still doing her job in times like this.
I'm not.
I thought it was interesting, the quote, like, humans can't push themselves forever. Surely they've already reached their limit.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, humans.
A lot of these,
Humans.
a lot of
Like
these
this
CP
this is
zero
this is
quotes are weird.
CP0 saying this. Uh does that imply they're not human?
Oh, maybe there's something under the mask. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
really. I don't really feel any sense of intrigue with CP0 to be honest. Like,
I don't know. A lot of these CP0 quotes just fall very flat on me. Them saying like, I mean the humans quote especially, but like them saying like the odds of this new generation winning are 1,000,000 to 1. Like that means literally nothing to me.
Yeah, they're just sort of here to like
They're
talk
just
about what's happening.
saying
They
big
are just the
things
narrator, basically.
and well, I mean, that's what they were serving earlier when they were just kind of observing the whole thing. And I would have honestly preferred them staying out of the conflict, narrating the whole thing, and then taking a course of action after everything had already gone down instead of getting involved and having this silly plotline to capture Nico Robin.
Yeah, then we wouldn't have to like,
Yeah, I
If
waste
they
agree.
if
time
they
on them.
served as narrators the entire arc and then took action after they knew what the clear outcome was, that feels more logical, I guess.
I mean, that would make more sense. Yeah, that
Mm.
would be smarter. Oh well.
Oh well, didn't happen. And yeah, 1036
we
ends
we
with a
we
bang.
get a glimpse of Luffy and Kaido fighting. They're
Yeah,
both kind of smacking each other.
yeah, 1036 ends with a big bang. That 1037 ends up continuing, but
And Luffy's taken some serious blows. I mean, like, look at that one at the bottom of the page. He gets
Yeah.
bonked right on the head.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's hurting, but Kaido is also hurting. I mean, Kaido's been deservedly hurting, I guess. He's been taking a beating the entire arc, not the entire arc, entire third part of the arc. Um, I love the panel with him using the rock gun and Kaido's face is got the squished face. Um, that whole last page is very good, and we continue in the next panel or in the next page. But Kaido, I think he said it a couple times up until now. But him being like, "I actually enjoy this fight," is always fun to hear. You know, it's kind of I think it's kind of a cliche in anime and manga where it's just like, huh, finally, I am enjoying a fight. Like it's been so long since I've actually cared about a fight, and so much of that is just like talking it up. But it actually feels like Kaido would be bored with most fights. You know, it's how his character's been portrayed up until now, and for somebody that gets who cries because they physically cannot commit suicide type of deal, like that seems pretty apt in the character. That he's taken so long to enjoy a fight. Like I guess the other fight that he's had is the when he dueled with Big Mom earlier, and like that's like a spar. I guess this is actually a fight to the death, so he can actually feel that emotion.
Yep.
Yeah. So I guess go to 1037. Um, let's see. Yeah,
Judge
1037.
lets out a heavy sigh.
Yeah, 1037 starts with a heavy sigh. I still don't know much what to make of this cover story, I guess, but
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
nothing's really happened.
nothing's
it's
really going
volume
on
2,
here.
so I mean, I'm honestly still in the excited portion of this. The excited that we
Yeah,
have a cover story
Yeah,
portion.
Reiju's looking good though. She looks nice in that.
Reiju's got the thighs
as
to
always.
the thighs that save lives here.
Yeah.
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 Then we're reminded of the festival.
Yeah. Not much to say about that cover story, but I honestly love the opening of this chapter. This chapter, I mean, maybe it has been. I think it had been maybe close to a month since I'd read a One Piece chapter that there was some kind of gut reaction to reading One Piece again, where it was just like, uh, I love this, you know. Um,
Yeah.
but the opening with the festival was very. I think it was pretty well done, and I think
It
we'll
looks
see.
it looks like a pretty like I think this is gonna look really pretty in the anime, like all the colors, I'm sure.
Yeah, and I
Um,
think it's I think it'll come back in like in one of the final moments of the fight or even in the just the resolution of the whole Onigashima part of it. Um,
yeah.
they're sending lanterns up into the sky, so I think one of these
Yeah, those are
characters.
definitely gonna be I feel like that could actually be like a really cool visual set
Yeah,
piece for
if
like the final moments.
Luffy's on the ropes and he sees, well, the true translations I see are, I want to see my mom again and food for the kids. If Luffy is on the ropes and he sees those messages, like that's gonna be,
Specifically food for the kids.
yeah,
Because
that's
that actually is
rejuvenation.
like what like that was like the thing specifically that like got him mad.
Yes.
Was that Tama was like, I'm starving, and he's like, what? There's no food here?
Yeah.
That's fucked.
Yeah.
So
So
Yeah.
Yeah, I think these are gonna play another role in it, but the whole setup and we mentioned the reminder about um, just the reminder about the stakes at place. We've got happy people doing a festival, and meanwhile we've got like one of the craziest battles that's ever happened in Wano, and has a chance to kill everybody at this festival. It's just reminder of the stakes and something that'll probably play a role. And it's like a great just juxtaposition with it's one page, and then you get the beginning of the next page is literally like it's literally just a picture of Onigashima, but Onigashima is like a skull on fire. So it's such a great just panel to panel jump from happy mom and kid to skull on fire. It's just very well done. You know, I was very
Uh,
happy with the beginning of this.
they they should just look up and then they know that they're about to die. Like,
Yeah, I was thinking that too. It's just like they should probably be able to see it by now.
yeah, I don't know. Maybe that'll happen soon. I don't know.
I don't know how high up it's supposed to be, but not that high up.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, we get some.
I was drinking it up.
I think we're getting close to a Kaido chapter here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
this
think
was
so too.
awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Like, we're finally getting some personality for
yeah.
Kaido, other than like in this fight, other than just like big punch guy.
yeah,
I love that he's having fun. And he's just like, I love that he like offers Luffy some of the like alcohol too. He's like Luffy's like, why are you drinking? He's like mad that he's like not like giving him his full attention, and he's just like, because I'm having fun, which is great. I love that Kaido's having fun here. And then he's like, do you want some? Like
That's
he's a
yeah,
nice
that was
guy. He's
awesome.
like I like that he like sees Luffy as like a kindred spirit kind of. He's like, oh,
Yes.
like you also love fighting too, right? Like you must be having a great time. Like let's just like get drunk together and just keep duking it out. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah,
Like
I
good.
love this whole interaction they have at the beginning of the chapter because kind of going back to like if they're both like Joy Boy candidates or whatever,
Hmm.
it's I mean Kaido's at a different point in his life, so seeing him kind of it's something we haven't seen out of Kaido recently with like him being happy and drunk, and we've seen that Luffy doing that, but he would never even think about doing anything close to what Kaido's doing right now. So when Kaido offers it to him, like that's such a in any other circumstance, I'm sure Luffy would accept. But Luffy's giving it his all right now, and Kaido's like, it's a fight for him. It's a good fight for him, I guess. But it's
Yeah.
not the same stakes that Luffy is. It's really cool to see.
Yeah, and this also makes Kaido like more intimidating, I think, because it's like Kaido is like now like he's having fun with it, like it doesn't seem like he's like actually like on the ropes yet, and like Luffy is like definitely giving way more effort than Kaido is at this point. Um, so like not only is it giving Kaido more personality, but it's also giving the fight more stakes because it's like, okay, like if Luffy needs to work this hard just to get to the point where Kaido is like having fun with it, then how the hell is he actually going to like get him on the ropes and like
Yeah.
start beating him?
Mhm.
So I do like that. Like I think that it has multiple purposes and it's good. And then also it just gives us funny Kaido faces. I love how Kaido
Laughing
just
Kaido face is
immediately
so
gets
good.
wasted
Yeah.
and he's just crying, laughing. It's God, what an idiot, but like in the best way. Like it's just Kaido is great here. Like
Yeah.
this
I,
is
I, I saw a good power
this
curve
is
where
prime One Piece. Like, if you look at any other shonen anime and you've got a villain that has been hyped up as much as Kaido
Mhm.
has, he will never be portrayed with, you know, crying eyes and a big ass mouth like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Almost any other anime, the villains are just straight laced. I'm evil.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like I don't think I can think of another example of like such a built-up villain, or I don't know. I'll use antagonist as opposed to villain because I'm not really sure where Kaido's morals lie and everything. But such a built-up antagonist and such a late part in the series. Like I mean, we still have multiple years in the series, but relatively late in the series, and there's never gonna be like an antagonist that's like, oh, I'm having fun, I'm drinking, I'm laughing, I'm having a great time. This is a good time because I haven't had a fight like this in years. Like, I hope Kaido doesn't get like mega serious by the end of this fight. I don't
Well,
think he
I don't know. I
will.
kind of think it'd be satisfying if Luffy does like push him to like a point where he's like, you know, like he has to like really try. Um, I don't know. Maybe that'll
I
happen.
think it might depend for me on how it's done, how it's executed. But
Yeah.
I can see it. I can see him kind of. I guess he does get a bit more serious towards the end of the chapter, but like it'll depend on how it's done for me. I think.
Yeah.
Um,
I do love how like he has like this like I love the how he keeps the big goofy smile. Like even when he's dodging Luffy's attacks, he like ducks down, he like limbos it kinda, and he
mhm.
like still has the goofy smile on his face.
Yeah.
Um and then when he's like chasing him around with his club, he's got goes whoa, and he's like he just looks like a dumbass. Like
Yeah, I love
what a
his
goof.
drunk phases. It's something that um, kind of hinted at before with him being drunk earlier in the manga and like everything about that. So um,
Yeah, also like damn, he really hits Luffy really hard there. Like that's got to be like the hardest hit that Luffy's taken the whole fight. Like he just knocks him to the floor, and
yeah,
yeah,
shout out to Oda for conveying how I mean we kind of talked I mentioned it earlier with like how the speed or somebody mentioned it earlier, I don't think it was me, the speed of like King's pullback attack, like how well that's conveyed panel to panel, but like the power of Kaido and Luffy's hits panel to panel, so well conveyed. Everything is so well done with art style wise is something we don't mention a whole lot, but like Oda, shout out to Oda for like how well he does these hits and these moves.
yep. I was actually surprised that that hit didn't break the ceiling. Like they show, oh, the roof is cracking, but like I don't know, dude. Like that looked like it could have just like completely obliterated the whole thing.
Yeah,
Um, but I like that that turns Kaido into sad drunk phase.
yeah,
I like he's just like, oh, we could rebuild. It only took
Yeah.
5 years. Like I
The
love how he's like
bastard.
worried about this during the fight. Like he's worried about like the construction of his like he's yeah, like that he's just not there, you know.
Yeah.
He's mentally like not even paying attention to Luffy. It's great.
yeah. I love it. And Luffy, like we said earlier, Luffy's giving it all his all.
Yeah. And yeah. I don't really know what's going on with this like dragon twister attack. Like it I don't know where those flashes are coming from. Like
I think it's just
I don't
him
know if it's like
spinning around really fast like a cobra, and then that
yeah,
hitting Luffy somehow. I don't know.
I don't know.
It sounds like
I
a
was
roller
like
coaster. That sounds like a roller coaster that would be at a theme park, a dragon demolition twister.
yeah.
I
But
know
then
it
he hits
ain't the
Crunch.
corkscrew.
Yeah. It kind of he is kind of a corkscrew though.
um, and then kind of going back to the art direction of it, the panel that stuck out to me with a lot of these. I mean, there are a lot of really good panels in this chapter. Um, but one of them was the one with Luffy after the crying drunk phase. Luffy jumping over Kaido's club at the top of that next page is really cool to me for some reason. It just looks. It's not like a clear picture. It's kind of blurred, I guess. It like I said earlier, it kind of shows the speed of the whole thing and just like how agile Luffy is with his, it's such a big difference in stature between the two. So how much of an advantage Luffy can have in some moments as opposed to the other. But this compared to him getting completely smacked right down into the ceiling type of deal. It's
Yeah.
very cool
The
and
one that really
sweet.
stuck out to me is the panel like right under that where Kaido literally looks like the crying Wojak. He's just seething right there.
That's so funny. And
We
Luffy's
get like a
panel.
lot of really good Kaido faces.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to. I mean, honestly, anytime we've gotten like Kaido anything, like even with the King flashbacks, we got some good Kaido faces in that. Like they look like almost like a classic. And I hesitate to say Luffy, but they look like Blackbeard almost. Um, Very similar in structure with the face. So yeah, I'm excited to see more Kaido for sure because faces have been on par so far. I
Yeah,
like
he's got
and
another.
even under the crying face, it's just like him crying, and then I mean it's literally like you said the Wojak shit, where one
Yeah,
person's crying and the other person's just like Luffy saying, "Take that, you fucking drunk," and he's
yeah,
smiling. It's so funny.
yeah. I also love on the next one. There's like another. We get a lot of those like in this chapter. Where there's like contrasting like Kaido and Luffy. The next one where it's like Kaido's just still crying, and then Luffy's like he's like prepping for like a really big attack, but like Kaido is just like he's not even focusing.
Yeah,
And they still clash. I
the
love the
headbutt.
panel where they do their headbutts,
The
and
headbutt
it's like
panel's really good.
yeah, and it's like this like like their like hockey or whatever is like making it so they like there's like a layer in between them that I think that looks really it's like he's pressing his face up against like glass or something.
Yeah,
It's really cool.
yeah. It doesn't use the same hockey imagery that we're used to.
Hmm.
We're used was it the black is usually used to show hockey,
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
which is nice. It's a nice break in pace. And the one right below that with like
The lightning
I
effect.
was
Yeah.
expecting another crack in the sky to show up, and that to play
Oh
some
yeah,
kind of
that would
part,
be
because like that's always with a big clash in hockey. Um, but that never ended up being a thing unless it was just kind of off screen, which I could expect because it's not as big of a deal with these two as it used to be. So, um, yeah,
It's been shown, and I think it's pretty cool. But there's a lot of parallels from um, attacks that are going on with Luffy's fight that the Straw Hat crew has also done. Like the exact positioning that Luffy's in for that behind the back kick to the head
mhm.
is the exact same positioning Sanji has in his final blow to Queen.
Okay. I haven't seen that.
And also like the headbutt that draws parallels to like page one and ulti headbutting in the beginning of the arc.
Okay.
um and there's also been another panel where Luffy dodges one of Kaido's attacks the same way Zoro dodges one of those uh pullback attacks from King.
Okay.
So I think that's pretty cool to point out is there's a lot of parallels between what's been done with the Straw Hats, and it's like almost um too spot on to go
Well,
unnoticed.
yeah. To me, that just says like the Beast Pirates have learned from Kaido. So like these are moves that Kaido has done. So like a headbutt, maybe that's uh, ulti has taken that from Kaido, or
Mm.
the move that Sanji uses on, or sorry, that Queen uses on Sanji, and Sanji dodges in the same way. He learned that from Kaido or something. Yeah, that sounds like a pretty reasonable thing. I like that. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I had not noticed that.
I didn't
Yeah.
notice it either. Yeah.
It's pretty cool. I think the boring answer would be, oh, that's just Oda's first reaction to draw somebody dodging that, but I don't think.
Yeah, but I
I
I
think
don't
that's
I
too
don't
clean for
think
that
that's
to be an
exactly it
explanation.
because
Yeah.
how many times do we see Luffy do a behind the back kick to the head?
Or even a
You know,
headbutt.
or even a headbutt. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
but
mean we don't see those kind of attacks that often out of
I don't
Luffy.
think we've seen Luffy do I can't remember the last time we've seen Luffy do a headbutt besides against Ulti. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean that makes sense to me honestly. Um, yeah, past the headbutt, we get the angry drunk phase, and then the final class, which is pretty freaking cool with the Gatling versus what is his meteor shower, Gundari meteor
Yeah, he does
shower,
like a spin attack kind of.
spike ball spin attack deal.
Yeah.
I love that panel. I love that panel. You know, it's a movie we've seen so many times with the Gatling, um, and then Kaido's kind of version of it,
Hmm.
the equal match kind of deal.
Yeah, it looks really good.
It's very cool. And
Both get smacked.
yeah, it's a big schmack.
They both get a
It's a
big
slugfest.
smack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the smile from Kaido on that last page of Kaido on the top left with he's like, "Oh yeah. Oh yeah."
Yeah.
He's enjoying himself. Yeah.
He's having a good time and Luffy is very serious it seems. Um and then we get some lore, a lore drop.
Lore drop.
I'm curious to hear Kyle's thoughts about the lore drop because I know there's a lot of theories on what the fruit is that they're talking about.
Yeah. Okay.
I
Yeah. We
really
should.
hope it's not the Gomu Gomu no Mi.
Yeah. Okay. Like
I would be so upset if it was the Gomu Gomu no Mi because
I would
think
be.
I
I
don't
would
think it
actually be
is.
so pissed.
I don't think it is.
I think I've heard before that he said in an SBS where as soon as you eat a devil fruit, you know the name of it, you just don't know the powers or how to use them.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
swear to
interesting.
God, I think I've seen him say that in an SBS.
That's a thing. Yeah. That's a
Okay.
thing.
Well, that actually does news.
If you eat the fruit, then you know what the fruit's actual name is.
Yeah, and that's something they talked about with CP9 when they ate their fruits. They knew what their fruits were and not their powers exactly. Something
Yeah.
like that.
Okay, that actually makes me feel a lot better.
So
Um,
that's what the thing that made me feel the best about it.
but also maybe Oda just forgot.
Yeah.
I don't think
Yeah.
so.
Maybe he
I-
just
That's
forgot.
always a possibility, but
yeah,
Um,
I don't know. Oda doesn't. I feel like Oda's problem is less that he like forgets things that he already writes, and I think he has more of a problem with like adding stuff that like doesn't contradict it, but it just kind of like
retcons.
doesn't. Yeah, like retcons and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, at first I thought it was 100% the Gomu Gomu. And I was like, this is shit and bad. But I was reading like a different translation than the one that I'm reading now, and it said something like the one that I'm reading now. It says, "How else do you explain the world government giving a specific devil fruit a unique name?" And so I think what that means is there's like a name for a devil fruit other than like the like the traditional like there's like two like sound effects or whatever like no me, right? Like some other name for it besides that. But the
Mm.
one that I read at first, it was like it said changing a devil fruit's name, or like it had a name and then it like was then changed instead of giving it like another name or giving it a unique name or something. So I don't know. I thought that was interesting. Like when it said like changing the name or something, like that made me think more that it was like the Gomu Gomu. This one, like where it's like has like some other name. What I think now, like my theory is that it is well, I guess first I'll just play devil's advocate and say why it could be the gum gum. I mean, just because like that is like the fruit that was like mentioned most recently, like it was like given it's already been given more significance with like the who's who fight. So it would make sense if we're continuing that. I feel like that would be like the reasoning for like the Gomu Gomu no Mi. But
Okay.
uh I think it's probably not. I think what it actually is when they say that they're giving it a unique name, what I think it is I think that they are giving it the name Uranus, because that is the like the weapon or whatever. What I forget what they're called, like the special weapons or whatever. Like
Yeah.
Pluton, um, Neptune, and Uranus. Um, like that's the weapon that has not been given or that hasn't been named yet or hasn't been like we don't know what it is yet. Um, and so it would make sense that like a devil fruit could be like so powerful or whatever that it's like that it's given it's basically made one of the
considered
divine weapons.
a weapon of war.
Yeah, like it's
Yeah,
so
it's
powerful
that
that it's like on.
powerful. Yep.
Yeah. And I think what it could be, I mean, just because of the fact that I think if we if we're not thinking that it's the Goma Goma no Mi, I think that the the most likely thing, just based on the paneling, is that it's something related to Zunesha.
Oh
Zunisha,
yeah,
yeah,
I
I'm on the
really
same
hope it's
page.
that. I really hope it's
I'm
that
on the
because
same
the
page.
fact that
Yep.
they did
Yeah,
those two panels back to back, it's got to be something like that.
yeah,
I heard it.
and so like I think
Yeah,
like I've heard a couple things about that. Like it could just be Zunesha's devil fruit. Like Zunesha maybe used to be a normal elephant, and now it's like a really big elephant, or maybe it was like it ate like a elephant fruit,
I
like
I heard it
world
was
elephant thing.
Tamaki's fruit, and then
Oh,
Tamaki's fruit
like
was used on Zunisha to give her a command.
uh, yeah. I mean that could be the case. I think that that's like maybe like that she like somehow awakened it or something, and like Zunesha came. Like that's another possibility because her fruit has been pretty relevant this arc,
Yeah.
and I mean it does seem really powerful. Like if you could like control something like Zunesha.
And
Um,
we have seen Zunisha talking about like he's following commands.
Yeah.
yeah, but
We
okay,
have
that's like
heard that. Yeah.
yeah, that's like my reasoning why I kind of don't think it's Tama because like um we already have a way that like Zunesha like we already have someone who can give Zunesha commands and it's Momo. You know, like Momo can already give Zunesha commands like using what the voice of all things or whatever. So I feel like it'd be weird if like now Tama can also give Zunesha commands because we kind of already have like that role filled by Momo. So I think the most likely is that it's probably whatever Zunesha's devil fruit is.
I could.
Um,
So with Tama, I feel like. So they're saying it hasn't awakened for centuries. So I feel like what they could be saying is that like Tama's not the one that gave Zunisha the command. It's like somebody that had her fruit a long time ago that awakened it. When these things existed or whatever. But the reason that their world government is bothering is because they realize Tama's fruit is existing and they are so scared of this. I don't know what the other extent of the fruit awakening would be, but they're so scared of this fruit awakening with Tama even like she's a little girl that has probably no ill will towards most things. They're so scared of this fruit awakening again, like it's that bad. It's that
yeah,
serious
I
at
mean,
least. That'd be honestly more hype than I realized when I first read that. I don't know. It's I as long as it's not the Gomu Gomu no Mi, I'm okay, I think.
yeah, yeah. I
Zunisha
think,
in the last panel was pretty hype, I'll be honest.
yeah, I mean, honestly, I mean, it was pretty clear that like Zunesha was going to be relevant again.
Thank
It's a
God.
giant fucking elephant. But like, I kind of thought it would be like at the end of One Piece. Like, I didn't think it'd be this early. Um, so curious to see what
Also,
happens.
all the animal I'm blank on the animal people name. They don't got a long flight home. It's
Yeah,
right there.
Yeah.
yeah. So we can just drop off Carrot and be done with it. Because she's not joining the crew.
Yeah,
So
exactly. That's that's fire to the fire or fuel to the fire of Carrot not joining the crew. She can just go home as soon as
yeah.
this is over.
Thank
It's a
God.
it's a blazing bonfire at this
A
point. I don't think that
blazing
there's
bonfire.
yeah.
Also, it adds or I guess it would dampen the fire of the fact that Luffy's crew needs to show up at the end of this if Zunisha's just going to destroy the world government fleet.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
don't
I'm kind of
we don't
worried
need
a little bit
Bartholomew to
that like
show up.
that Zunesha might like play too big a role because I mean it's really big and like I'm just worried that it's gonna like I hope it doesn't like help Luffy beat Kaido because that would
Oh,
kind of
I
just
hope
like
not.
make it a lot less
Oh,
satisfying.
no. I don't think it'll help Luffy beat Kaido, but I think it will take care of all of the cleanup afterwards. Like what we were speculating, like the Straw Hat Grand Fleet coming for. I think that's gonna be Zunisha's role.
Yeah,
I'm curious to see if she plays a role or he plays a role in like Onigashima at all.
I think
I
it
don't know
might
about the
help like
fight, but like
Momo stop Onigashima from falling.
yeah, if he can control her to stop it from falling or something, that could be interesting. I
Yeah,
don't
it
know.
might be like a point where like Momo realizes that like his dragon powers aren't enough or something, but like he uses that to like have Zunesha like use its trunk or something to help.
Yeah, man, that panel was Ignatius pretty fucking cool. The eyes,
Um,
Yeah.
I was hyped big time.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm totally on board with Zunesha being the Uranus.
Oh,
Yeah.
And it kind of makes sense why they're talking about like, oh, it's been so long since it's awakened. You know, maybe the only people who can control it are the ones with lineage or
Yeah.
something along those lines, where the last person to give it the command to walk for 800 years was Joy Boy.
mm.
Maybe.
And so for those 800 years it was undetected.
And then maybe like that could have something to do with like the timing of the Joy Boy thing. If
Yeah.
like in some way, if Zunesha is necessary, or like all of the, I mean, I think that all of the like weapons are going to be necessary, because like Shirahoshi is also kind of like involved in like the prophecy or whatever, um, so that could be also relevant
I
too.
mean,
And
yeah.
Vivi for some reason. I'm still not sure how Vivi fits in.
Wait, how does she
Oh
fit
yeah,
in?
I don't
Like,
know.
what was her part?
Well, just
Well,
I like people think Vivi's important because of like the fact that like Eam had her wanted poster,
Oh,
um,
okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
and like he had like a couple. He had like Blackbeard's, Luffy's, Vivi's. Like
Yeah,
these are all plotted people, so it's
okay.
kind of weird to see Vivi there.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
um,
I honestly like I feel like the what is Shirahoshi is she Pluton? Which one is she?
she is Neptune.
She's Neptune. So I could honestly see another one being maybe it's not Zunisha herself, but it's whatever's controlling Zunisha being the other one. So one's controlling the sea creatures, one's controlling land creatures type of deal.
Yeah,
Um,
well, I think that the other one is the ship that um, like Frankie, I guess, like has the blueprints for like in his head or something.
oh, okay, okay, okay.
yeah.
Because that was like the thing on like Ennie's lobby,
Yeah, I
where
remember
he
that
like
now. Yeah.
yeah
I could totally see Frankie being like, surprise, I made this ultimate uh ultimate version of the Sunny to turn super mecha with laser beams and everything.
yeah
I, I,
yeah
I, I feel like that would be a third ship. I think the world government would destroy the Sunny or get it to a place where it needs to be redone.
You think they're gonna destroy the Sunny and then they have a third ship?
Yeah, I think so.
Hmm.
It's about that
Mm,
time. Was it 500
I don't know.
chapters? That sounds like a good ship lifetime.
It would be I feel like it'd feel weird though because we kind of already did that. Like we already felt sad about a ship getting destroyed. So
Yeah, it would be very hard to build my bond with a new ship, I will say that.
yeah, like I'm
Even if it
worried
was
enough
some
about like
world super
building
weapon.
bonds like with like a new crew member, um, if that happens.
Yeah,
So just because there's not that much, we
yeah,
don't really get a lot of like crew interaction anymore.
yeah.
Another 1,000 chapters.
Let's go.
Yeah, let's go. One Piece will never end. I mean, if One Piece would never end, then we wouldn't have to worry about Oda rushing things and skipping adventure arcs. So we need
Yes.
that in an ideal world. Yes, but also I do kind of want to know how it ends. So
Wait,
Gotta end. Yeah.
so shouldn't you be the ideal person for the anime because you want more adventure arcs and the anime's got all the filler arcs, which are basically adventure arcs?
but I want Oda to write them. I don't want like shitty filler. Also, I don't even think that the anime does filler anymore. It like literally just stretches out the episodes now.
Yeah,
So
I mean, yeah, recently has not been doing those. It's just been stretching them out, so it's like half a chapter an episode, which is fucking miserable to watch.
Yeah.
yeah,
What?
Something happens. Let's
I,
pan to everyone reacting.
Yeah, Luke and I tried to watch some of the Wano episodes, and it was pretty. I mean, Wano's better than recent. I think Dressrosa was probably the worst one that I've been hearing about, but it's still really, really annoying to have
yeah. I
half a
don't
chapter
watch
an
full
episode.
episodes. I only watch like clips.
Yeah, I would love for a. I mean, as heretical as it would be to recast the voice cast, unless they were able to do it in time, I think doing a full manga adaptation of One Piece at some point in like 30 years would be ideal.
30 years. It'll be the same thing as like the Dragon Ball Z Kai, Dragon Ball Z GT.
Except Dragon Ball didn't go on for that long.
No, but it's got like three
Yes.
different versions of the same story.
Yeah, as long as it has the right pacing, I would love it. I will wait 20 years for both One Piece and the anime to be done.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would be worth
I
it,
waited
say.
this long for it to be done, so
Yep. I think that'll do it for me. I don't know if you guys have anything else you would like to add about the end of 1037.
No, I like Kaido in this chapter, and he should join the crew.
Yeah,
So,
this is honestly a very good chapter overall. Oh wait, I didn't catch the last part. You said you should join the crew.
yeah,
Kaido should be the first commander of the Straw Hat Grand Fleet,
Honestly, he should
along
be
with
captain.
Katakuri.
I just want Kaido to just be on the Sunny, getting into hijinks with the crew. It'd be awesome.
That
He'd
would be
drink with
awesome.
Zoro.
Yeah, drinking with Zoro
It'd be
would be
fun.
yeah.
It'd be fun.
Won't happen, but would be cool.
Maybe Kaido will be an ally. Who knows that? It could happen after the flashback.
Honestly, could be cool.
Could be cool.
Yeah.
I would not hate it.
He's
I'd
got Katakuri, he's got Kaido.
Yeah, all of the coolest guys.
Yeah.
Tune in next time for Kaido not joining the crew and instead Yamato joins.
No.
What?
No one's joining. The crew's done.
Crew's
Actually,
over.
we're gonna call a member of the crew.
And it's Jinbei.
Jinbei's dying Stark, baby.
Let's go.
I can't wait for one of the Straw Hats to die, to be honest.
What want to happen? Not
It's
until
gonna
the
be
last
Jinbei.
arc.
Jinbei's gonna die.
Who's dying in the last arc? Call it now.
Brook.
No. Well,
No.
actually, he's got a good reason to die.
Robin's gonna read all the poneglyphs and then die because her usage is done.
I think Robin has a good reason to die just because she has a much larger role in the overall story than anybody else on the crew, I feel like.
Yeah, she's the most like plot piece
Yes.
character.
But Brook
Yeah.
has also a good reason to die because he has his friends that he'd like to join in the afterlife type of deal. I could see that being a very touching scene. Chopper can die because he's useless.
Yeah.
Usopp can't die because he's got to tell us.
Right. There was like actually like a I don't know. I mean, it's like a leak. It's like a is it real leak
Yeah,
or something that said that like Chopper would die. Yeah, but it's like from like 2010 or
If
something.
Chopper
And I think some
died,
of
the
the things.
only purpose that it would serve would be to rile up the rest of the crew.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that would be the only purpose if Jinbei died too.
Yeah, Jinbei's, yeah. Nami.
I actually feel like he would like if Jinbei died, it'd be cool. But at the same time, they would you just know they would wank Jinbei so hard after he died.
Yeah.
Like they'd be like, oh, he was so cool. Jinbei was always the coolest guy.
We give him a coolest tombstone of all time type of deal.
I think I could totally see Jinbei like sacrificing himself for the future, you know.
Yeah, I could see that.
I mean, it would kind of be thematic too, because it'd be like the new replacing the old, and Jinbei would just be an example of an old that like was in favor of the new.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
he stepped aside for the new, you know.
Yeah.
I think
it's happening.
Nami's pretty
we
safe.
just confirmed it.
Usopp's safe because he's got to tell his stories and he's got to meet up with what's her face.
Yeah, like
He's got places he's got to be.
Kaya or Paya.
Zoro could die, but he'd have to
Zoro dies seconds after he beats Mihawk.
No, I think he beats Mihawk. I think he's got to be. Is Mihawk established to be the best swordsman in the current universe?
Oh yeah.
strongest swordsman.
it would have to be after. I feel like that would mean he's not dying though. If his he would have to die to something else. I feel like I don't think
Yeah, I don't
Mihawk
think he would die. I
It
don't
wouldn't
think
be a
Zoro would
battle to the
die.
death if he's fighting Mihawk. I don't think.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem like Mihawk.
I mean, and also if they kill each other, then he didn't become the world's strongest swordsman. So
Well, Mihawk would have to die a couple seconds before Zoro.
yeah, but then it would just be in question. It'd be like, yeah,
He
Is
beat
Tom Brady
Katakuri.
is Tom Brady
I
the
think that
greatest
like
of all time? Is
Did
Zoro
Luffy
the
beat
greatest of all
Katakuri because he fell seconds after Katakuri fell?
time?
yeah, he didn't
Is
beat
that in
Katakuri
question?
actually. He didn't. Katakuri literally won.
Yeah, that would be quite the debate, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, it would be like I think it'd be it'd be like Zoro won, but maybe he wasn't the world's strongest swordsman because he was the world's strongest swordsman for like a second, and then like Mihawk was defending that title for years. So
And then they both die, and it falls onto some Joe Schmo.
yeah,
Yeah,
to like Shanks or someone.
Brook.
Buggy.
Buggy, yeah. Buggy starts
I
using
don't think
swords.
I don't think Shanks is a Joe Schmo, but yeah, sure. Maybe swordsman wise.
Or
Luffy,
it'd
it
be
falls
Big
onto
Mom.
Luffy,
Big
dude.
Mom's a swordsman.
Luffy with his great swordsman skills that he showed off at the beginning of Wano.
Literally, Luffy should start using swords, honestly. Like it just
Yeah.
seems like it's way better to use swords. Like
It-
if Zoro is so good at fighting with swords, like he always just one shots all of his opponents, why isn't Luffy doing this? Like he should have been training with swords instead of hockey during the time skip.
Because they're not fun.
Yeah, they're not
he,
him.
he doesn't have the concentration.
His Conqueror's
Yeah.
hockey isn't as advanced as Zoro's. Actually, Zoro is stronger than Luffy, as you can tell by multiple chapters.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, the evidence is all there.
The evidence is there, you just have to see. Yeah, that's not the opinion we carry on this show, but it is the opinion of some people.
Some people literally think that, yeah, which is
We're
delusions.
wrong. Anyway, that'll do it for us. There is a break next week, but we will try to probably try. I'd like to try to keep up with this. Kind of been on a hiatus for a bit, but I'd like to keep up with this.
Yes, yeah.
Reading
It
One
was,
Piece
the
is always
holidays
fun.
and stuff.
Yeah. Oda took a break. We
We
took a
had
break.
things going on. We have lives. We don't just sit around waiting for chapters of One Piece to come out. At least.
God, I wish.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd like to try to keep going with the chapter to chapter.
Yeah.
So
I mean, this episode was like 3 hours, so
yeah, might
yeah,
chop it up, but
I'd
we'll
rather
see.
not have to like record 3 hour episodes.
Oh yeah, I'd rather spend 3 hours on one chapter than 3 hours on six
Yeah.
chapters.
Yeah.
Yeah, really marinate on it.
I'll request a 10-page essay from both of you for the deadline.
Yeah.
But yeah, that'll do it for us. Try to get that out following the next chapter, but that'll do it for us. If you guys have anything else, if not, signing off.
Do it.
See ya.
All right, peace.